Hello, what's up guys? What's up guys? Today we're going to watch the iceberg music. Will be basically anything. I have really enjoyed. So yeah. The ultimate iceberg. I'm bored while watching, so yeah. That's why I'm just really watching it like that. I'm gonna have to do it like this.
Hey guys, Barky here with an iceberg video. We're
Go
going
watch
into
it.
the Five Nights at Freddy's iceberg, so strap in, grab yourself a Coke Zero, and enjoy. Let's get started. If I had to explain to you what FNAF is, chances are you don't know what it is. So, FNAF, or Five Nights at Freddy's, is a media franchise created by Scott Cawthon in 2014. The main series consists of 9 video games taking place in locations connected to a fictional family pizza restaurant franchise named Freddy Fazbear's Pizza after his mascot, the animatronic bear Freddy Fazbear. In most games, the player assumes the role of a nighttime employee who must utilize tools such as security cameras, lights, doors, and vents to defend themselves against hostile animatronic characters that inhabit the locations. The series' lore is gradually revealed through voice recordings, minigames, and Easter eggs featured throughout the games. Alright, let's get started with Tier 1. 1987 in FNAF 1's Custom Night. The 1987 Custom Night legend is an urban legend revolving around FNAF 1. In the first game, players have the option to select the difficulty of the individual characters before beginning their game. In addition to this, one of the most important years in the game's lore is the year 1987. In order to unlock the Custom Night, the player must give Freddy difficulty 1, Bonnie difficulty 9, oh that's impossible, Chica difficulty 8, and Foxy difficulty 7, and after doing so, the player will have to select Ready. Doing so will cause the face of the character known as Golden Freddy to appear, and he will let out a low-pitched scream and the game will crash. Freedom. This refers to the jump scare sound effect used in FNAF 2. Some people have speculated that it's not just a loud noise and the animatronics are saying, freedom. It's me. This entry refers to an Easter egg in FNAF 1 that has a 0.1% chance of occurring every second. It appears as a hallucination of Golden Freddy's head with the caption, "It's me," and some creepy noises. It's Me sign at Pirate's Cove. This is another hallucination in the game that has a reportedly 10% chance of happening. It refers to Foxy's sign in Pirate's Cove changing from saying, "Sorry, out of order," to "It's me." Mike Kill All. This refers to the FNAF 2 trailer in which you can hear children singing "London Bridge is Falling Down." Some people claim that when you reverse the audio, you can hear "The Killer is Out" and "Mike Kill All." Of course, I don't know why anyone would think that this reveals any information about the franchise at all, because if you reverse any other recording of "London Bridge is Falling Down, you should be able to hear the same thing. The animatronics get a little bit quirky at night. The animatronics get a bit quirky at night is a line by Phone Guy, which people have repurposed and overlaid over footage of, and I can't believe I'm saying this, footage of Freddy Fazbear twerking. Was it me? These were a set of teasers released while Scott was making FNAF 4. They were each of a nightmare animatronic with the text of something similar to "Was it me?" The teaser having a color scheme relating to that specific animatronic, such as blue, red, yellow, brown, and gray for some reason. And there was a hidden text when changing the contrast and brightness of the images, such as Nightmare Foxy's teaser having text that states "out of order," referring to his state in FNAF 1. Other text on the images stated the variant of animatronics these were going to be, which was Nightmare. Was that the bite of 87? This is a meme in the community, which is pretty much a clip of Markiplier saying, in shock, "Was that the bite of 87? That was my Markiplier impression. This originates from a video Markiplier made on Five Nights at Freddy's 4. He says this after seeing the bite of 83, previously thought to be the bite of 87. Spoilers. He would have probably said this in shock after we have finally seen the bite of 83 after 4 games. By the way, this iceberg is going to contain massive spoilers, so you have been warned. Hashtag #StandByScott. This was a hashtag floating around Twitter where people were saying this to support the choice of retirement by Scott Cawthon and also the allegations. Some YouTubers like Doco posted a video talking about the situation, and there were also some other variants of the hashtag such as hashtag #ThankYouScott and hashtag #IStandWithScott. Connection terminated speech. The famous speech is from the true ending to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Simulator, which was released on December 4th, 2017. Upon the player completing the Saturday shift, a message from Scrap Baby is heard, but is quickly interrupted by Henry Emily. It has been used in many different memes and has become its own copy pasta. Thank you, teasers. These teasers were used to tease the development of FNAF World. The first had the most characters from FNAF 1 through 4, with the text above them reading, "Thank you." When Scott started to make FNAF World, he began to replace the characters with their adventure counterparts while adding new adventure characters. Once all the adventure animatronics were on there, he added a date for which the game was going to be released on. It was also updated to add the Update 2 characters, Chica's Magic Rainbow, and the protagonist for Foxy Fighters. These were also to showcase questions like, in FNAF 4, why would the tiny toy Chica be missing her beak? And what is seen in the shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child. And most famously, 4 games, 1 story. These teasers with the questions were actually being updated on one of the game theorist live streams. 50-20 mode. When having all 50 characters set to max in Ultimate Custom Night, it becomes a special challenge called 50-20 mode. The challenge consists of all animatronics on their hardest difficulties all attacking you for the full 6 minutes. This challenge takes a lot of practicing to complete, and that's why Daco screamed and almost cried when completing it. 7 nights. Most games in the franchise have 7 nights, and that being the main 5, and the custom night, and night 6. Games that don't abide by this are Security Breach, FNAF 3, and FNAF World. Sorry, I think I'm gonna butcher this next one. Abdul Sissy's FNAF Beatbox. This post refers to a viral video of a TikToker in a yellow shirt sitting in his car and beatboxing to the Living Tombstones FNAF theme song Five Nights at Freddy's 1 song. The video was uploaded to TikTok in August 2021 and went viral, inspiring numerous videos under its original sound. The video saw an increase in popularity around December 2021 as an exploitable on YouTube. Afton family. This is a family in Five Nights at Freddy's franchise in which all of the lore is centered around. The father, William Afton, is obviously the killer and murdered the 5 children. The wife is unknown. The older brother, Michael Afton, put his younger brother into Fredbear's mouth to cause the bite of 83, or the bite of 87 depending on what you believe. The younger brother, the bite victim, was the one who was bitten on his frontal lobe, and the sister, Elizabeth Afton, who was scooped into Circus Baby after being tricked by the ice cream. Afton Robotics LLC. Afton Robotics, fully known as Afton Robotics LLC, a limited liability corporation, is a robotics company that was founded by William Afton, who is also the co-founder of Fazbear Entertainment Inc. It first appeared in sister location, appearing on the blueprints of the core animatronics of that game, Circus Baby, Ballora, Funtime Freddy, and Funtime Foxy. This company has made a huge amount of animatronics that we have seen and will see in the franchise. Ambience. Ambience is an audio cue which is in each FNAF game. They are creepy pieces of audio which can happen at different intervals, and they have been most used in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and have faded out in use in each game. The ambience from Five Nights at Freddy's 2 has actually become more popular in recent years as they have become more popularly used in trash posts. AnimDude. This is the username that the creator of the franchise, Scott Cawthon, goes by on all platforms he has made an account on, besides YouTube, where it's just his legal first and last name. This name is paired with an avatar of a blue pixelated person running with 2 blue squares coming off of the head. His avatar was presumably created for There Is No Pause Button, another game created by Scott, for FNAF, but he used it for his profile picture. For the troll game of Five Nights at Freddy's 3, the avatar had a Freddy head replaced over its actual head. Ballora is William's wife. This is a widely popular theory in which people believe that William Afton's animatronic Ballora was actually his wife stuffed into a costume. People believed this because every other person in William's family was involved in some sort of animatronic injury, such as Elizabeth Afton and the bite victim. Also, people believed that William's wife died, and the reason we see nothing about her is because he is grief-stricken. To this day, there is no proof of a Miss Afton for William Afton. Bite of 87 versus Bite of 83. This refers to a debate in the community whether the bite that we see in the FNAF 4 minigame is the bite of 87 or the bite of 83. Most people believe it to be the bite of 87, until recently. There is an Easter egg which says the date 1983 on it, which made the majority of the fanbase think it was the bite of 83. Bonnie gave Scott nightmares. Scott Cawthon considers the FNAF 1 Bonnie to be the scariest animatronic in the franchise, and he's right. Which may be unusual to some. Scott said this in the interview with Dawko, so his opinion could have changed, and this interview took place like a few years ago. Bonnie is purple. When the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 trailer was found by the public after the game was released, there were many oddities in the trailer, and one of the biggest obviously being the lost first trailer, but one of them was about Bonnie being purple, and he looked purple because of the lighting in the trailer. Bonnie is more of a lavender color. Burn Trap. Burn Trap is an optional final boss, saying optional because he is the boss of the Afton ending. He only appears in the Afton ending. This form is likely the result of Vanny somehow downloading Williams' consciousness from the Freddy Fazbear virtual experience into his old hybrid abomination of an animatronic suit, endoskeleton, and the little remains of his corpse. This animatronic has appeared in Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach as a main antagonist, hidden and only alluded to throughout the game, and only seen in the Afton ending. Candy Cadet's Stories. For the Candy Cadet minigame in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Simulator, you wait for an accurate time to get a piece of candy from him. If you wait for a precise amount of time, you can get stories from him with a specific theme. The first about a boy who buys 5 kittens, but a snake eats them one by one per day, and the boy then kills the snake by cutting it up and sewing the kitten back together. The second story is about a man who gives 5 orphans toys and food, but a burglar kills them one night, so the guy stitches 5 orphans together and puts them into one single coffin. The third and final story is about a woman locked in a burning building with a key, with 5 doors having 1 kid in each. She melts the keys together thinking it would work on all doors, but it works on none of them. These stories all follow the theme of 5 things becoming one, which could be thought to be the 5 kids William kills, but it is unconfirmed what these really refer to. Carl the Cupcake. Chica's Cupcake was the only character in FNAF 1 with an unknown name. This does eventually lead up to people giving the character a fan name. Some fans began calling him Carl, but that name soon caught on with every FNAF fan at the time. It was soon disproved by a Chica action figure, which included Carl, named as Mr. Cupcake. I like Carl better. This was one of the only cases that Scott had not adapted the fan-given name into the actual franchise, like Scrap Trap and Golden Freddy. Cassidy. Cassidy is the soul that people think is possessing Golden Freddy. Although people refuse to believe it, as they think there are 2 souls possessing Golden Freddy, Cassidy and the bite victim. In 2020, Markiplier released some FNAF merch, with one of them being a golden kazoo called Cassidy Kazoo. CD Plus. By holding CD and Plus, you can skip nights to 6 a.m. This can be used in FNAF 1 and FNAF 2, but in FNAF 2 you have to hover over Toy Freddy's nose on the poster. But it was soon taken out of FNAF 3. People thought CD Plus was coming to FNAF 3, as on Phantom BB's teaser, and had a CD on his hat, but it was probably a coincidence. CG5. This is a person who creates FNAF songs. He does centrally make other songs about other games like Among Us and Poppy's Playtime, but CG5 does also create original music, and he has made some music for the popular Five Nights at Freddy's internet personality Dawko, the music being tailored to the franchise. Chipper & Sons Lumber Co. This is the game that Scott made before Five Nights at Freddy's. follows the story of a lumber company ran by Chipper, a humanoid beaver, whose son, Tyke, has to do certain objectives ranging from collecting a certain amount of wood, talking to other characters, and building specific things, and playing mini games throughout the game. Scott made the game, but he got criticism on it, and the criticism was pretty much people saying that the characters move and look like animatronic characters. After that, he was thinking of quitting game development until he thought of the idea of Five Nights at Freddy's. Confusing timeline. I think that everybody in the FNAF community, or people who have heard of the franchise, know that the franchise has a very confusing timeline. Many people have tried to piece it together, but people argue about what goes where. MatPat has even made some videos trying to piece together the lore, and many people just go with him because people know he researches for a while to get his information. Console and mobile ports. These are versions of the game in which the mechanics are changed to tailor to either mobile devices, which also include a store, and consoles, which make it so the different mechanics for the games correlate with the different buttons on the controller. Some people in the community wouldn't usually prefer these versions over the original computer versions. Da Games. This is a person who has created many popular songs in the Five Nights at Freddy's community. They also do gameplay videos on games like Five Nights at Freddy's, Poppy's Playtime, and It Takes Two. Although his songs aren't as popular as Living Tombstone, he is still well liked in the community. Dawko. Dawko is prominent in the FNAF community for making charity streams where he plays FNAF games or fan games. When he hits a specific goal with the money people donate, he teases something. All the money he would make in the streams, he would give to the chosen charity for the stream. Dream Coma Theory. This entry is referring to a theory made by MatPat in the video Game Theory FNAF, the clue that solves Five Nights at Freddy's, in which he believed that the whole franchise was taking place in the dreams of a child, which is really boring. I don't know why you would... No. He gave an example, the grandfather clock. The coma theory is a theory that states that the games take place while the child is in the hospital, in the time between the bite and the eventual removal of his front lobe. The biggest problem with this and Matt's original theory is that the kid dies in the end, and the sound of a heart monitor flatlining is heard signifying the death of the child. Endo 1 and spare heads staring at the camera. There's an Easter egg in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 in which, on the backstage camera, the Endo 1 character and the decapitated animatronic heads of Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica all turn towards the camera with fully black eyes and small white pupils. The eyes look similar to when Bonnie stares into the same camera if he were to go into the backstage area. Failed Kickstarter. Scott started the Kickstarter before FNAF 1 was released. He tried to get money to further develop FNAF, but he got 0 backers and no money. It had many backer goals. Some of the most important ones were wallpapers, which are now considered lost media, and Scott would send you new versions of the game when something was updated. Fall Guys, Dead by Daylight, and Fortnite. Now I know you're thinking this is FNAF Iceberg. It is. This is why it's relevant. These were games in which people began to speculate that FNAF would eventually collaborate with. People thought Springtrap was coming to Dead by Daylight, and people thought there would be multiple Fall Guys costumes, and people thought a Freddy Fazbear skin was coming to Fortnite. Fan art. This definitely doesn't need a very long explanation. Fan art is an art which isn't official to the specific franchise. Five Nights at Freddy's could be up there to be getting the most fan art, but people usually just draw fan art of the characters. Sometimes they might draw fan art of anything relating to Five Nights at Freddy's. Fan-given names being canonized. Many characters used to have no official name outside of the game files, leading fans to come up with their own names for them. Some of these names have grown popular enough to be used officially, including Golden Freddy, Phone Guy, Purple Guy, Withered Animatronics, Shadow Bonnie, Freddles, and Scrap Trap. There are some characters that actually had original names prior to fans just giving them names, such as Golden Freddy, who was actually originally called Yellow Bear until Markiplier made a video called Was That Golden Freddy? Five Nights at Freddy's Part 2. Fan songs. On YouTube, communities of specific franchises make songs about that franchise, Five Nights at Freddy's being one of the most popular when it comes to fan songs. Many people have made songs tailored to this specific franchise, such as the Living Tombstone, Dawko, and DA games. Fazbear Fanverse Initiative. This was something started by Scott where he would give money to developers of the most popular fan games to make new ones for the series. Five Nights at Candy's 4, Pop Goes Evergreen, One Night at Flumpty's 3, Joy of Creation Ignited Collection, and FNAF Plus are the games which are being developed or have been developed. Scott also said they will get mobile ports of their games and may or will get merch. Fazbear Frights. This was a series of books which had 3 different stories in them, with one connecting story at the end of each book. There were 12 books in the series, with the 12th not being released solo, and you'd have to buy the 12-book box set to get the 12th. This series later got adapted into a graphic novel series, and the first book was released on July 2nd, 2021. Five Nights at Candy's. This is the most well-known of all of Five Nights at Freddy's fan games. This fan game was created by Emil Mako and is set in the same universe as the official Five Nights at Freddy's series. When this game was released, it came with great feedback, extremely positive, and Five Nights at Candy's 4 has been tied in reviews with FNAF World on GameJolt.com. There was a Reddit post done by Emil Mako, which was a beta version of Candy the Cat without a tie. Some people in the community named this as Sugar and regarded it as a hoax. Five Nights at Freddy's AR Special Delivery. Developed by Illumix, this is an AR game released on Android and iOS. The aim of the game is to defeat the animatronics in an augmented reality situation, which beating these animatronics will get you XP, get stuff from the store, and new animatronics. Throughout the game, players subscribe to the Fazbear Entertainment's brand new Fazbear Funtime service and get their favorite animatronics on demand. Due to unfortunate circumstances, the visiting animatronics malfunction and attack subscribers instead of entertaining them. Illumix has updated the game many times with bug fixes, new characters, and new skins, such as Clown Springtrap and Flamethrower Indo, but some skins are based off of holidays such as Chocolate Bonnie and Lovesick Baby. The first of these was actually released as its own character, that being Freddy Frostbear. Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted. Developed by Steel Wool Studios, this is the VR game of FNAF. It is a collection of classic and original minigames set in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. There is a total of 40 playable minigames in the base game, with 3 of them being featured in the demo. After completing the minigames, players can replay them again in a nightmare mode of some sorts, which cranks up the difficulty and distraction in every game. Upon fully completing the game, players are treated to an end which expands upon the lore of the games. The game introduced a key character, Malhare, otherwise known as Glitchtrap, a new incarnation of William Afton, which had invaded the game as a glitch. There have been 2 add-ons to the base game, one being Curse of the Dreadbear DLC and the other one being a non-VR mode. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. Security Breach was a video game in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise which started development in 2020. The game was released in 2021 and was a celebration in the community until the many glitches were discovered. The game follows the plot of a child named Gregory who is locked in the Pizzaplex and hides inside Glamrock Freddy's stomach away from the other animatronic band members. This game has been growing infamously because of many glitches found in the game, like texture mess-ups, rendering mess-ups, and animations not working, and many more. FNAF 1's protagonist is the killer. This was a fairly popular theory back in FNAF's heyday, with the main evidence being "it's me." It also provided a good explanation to why the animatronics were attacking you with each new game. However, it became less and less plausible as new night guards became revealed due to paychecks or pink slips. FNAF 2 is a prequel. Self-explanatory. It comes before FNAF 1 in the timeline, but it was released after FNAF 1 in the real world. It's just what we were talking about earlier with the timeline being very confusing. FNAF in real life. On YouTube, kids' channels used to make videos when FNAF was most popular about FNAF characters visiting them in real life. The most popular one was Foxy, where he can be seen running down a house hallway. Most of the videos were made by a kids' channel called Bubblegum Monsters. FNAF movie set photos. Many photos of the set of the FNAF movie have been posted on sites such as Twitter, and many different things were leaked, like a pizzeria sign and the pizzeria itself and a Freddy animatronic. FNAF referenced in Deltarune. In Deltarune at Ice Ease Pizza, on the top right, you can speak to a character who says, "Purple guy, man, that guy, you gotta." This is a reference to FNAF as it is near a pizza place and saying the killer's name from the series. Toby Fox denies this being a FNAF reference and didn't know who Purple Guy was. Sure, bro. FNAF will be real in 52 minutes. A meme in which a frame of Freddy from the FNAF 1 trailer being extremely low quality with the impact font text, FNAF will be real in 52 minutes on it. Sometimes it's 52 seconds though. That's literally it. FNAF World. A couple months after FNAF 4 was released, Scott Cawthon posted a teaser to the Scott Games site in which it featured most of the characters from Five Nights at Freddy's 1 to 4 and had the text "Thank you" on top. This was basically saying that the franchise was finished and there were no more games after this. This was false when people started seeing adventure animatronics, a name not known at the time, replacing the canonical counterparts. Later, with the release of FNAF World, a 3D adventure game which you fight numerous enemies to gain stronger and stronger characters to play as, there are many canonical endings such as the clock ending, and many fans dislike this game, even Scott himself, is because of the sudden change in genres in the franchise and many more reasons. In fact, Scott even said in his Doco interview, when he was asked about FNAF World, he said the problems with FNAF World, that's a completely different interview, it's an entire other interview. There was a DLC released for this game named FNAF World Update 2 in which it included most Halloween edition characters, Anim Dude, an 8-bit purple guy sprite, and characters from some of Scott's older games, and this also includes a new final boss. FNAF World on Steam and mobile stores. When Scott had first released FNAF World, he put it on Steam, GameJolt, and mobile. The Steam and mobile variants of FNAF World were quickly taken down for being disliked by fans, and this left GameJolt variant the only official way to download the game. FNAF X Cloak. This was a collaboration between Five Nights at Freddy's and Markiplier and Jacksepticeye's merch company, Cloak. It was mostly hoodies and shirts, but there were some other things as well. People weren't too happy with the designs because they thought they were a bit lackluster and plain. FNAF Plus. Five Nights at Freddy's Plus is an upcoming official non-canon remake reimagining of the original Five Nights at Freddy's developed by Fizna, the developer of other fan games like Shadow Over Freddy's and Pork Chop's Horror Show. This will be the only fan game which won't be free on GameJolt. Foxy did the Bite of 83. People thought that Foxy could have been the real culprit for the Bite of 83 as he is out of order throughout the first game. Another thing that pitches into this is that his jaw is extremely wide open, more than any other character besides Golden Freddy. But Foxy's toy counterpart, Mangle, is theorized now to be the true culprit of the Bite of 83. Foxy is a good guy. This is a very old theory in the Five Nights at Freddy's community, in which people believe that Foxy was a good guy. Basically, people believe this because he doesn't actually jump scare you and only leans into the door and you just die of a heart attack. It is regarded as one of the most popular Five Nights at Freddy's theories. Foxy's Two Hands, FNAF's second anniversary. For Five Nights at Freddy's second anniversary, Scott posted images of the characters in development phases. One was a Freddy without a suit torso, one was of Bonnie taking his suit head off, and note the black bow tie, and one of Chica holding Winking Mr. Cupcake, or Carl, and two images of Bonnie and Chica in their jump scare positions, and one of Springtrap with his inside torso and his head exposed. The most peculiar one being Foxy, which has him without tears on his suit and torso, and he also has two hands instead of an endoskeleton hand and a hook. Fredbear and Ultimate Custom Night. When you turn all characters off in Ultimate Custom Night and have Golden Freddy on one, you start the game and go on the cameras to start collecting Vaz coins. When you have 10, you can buy the Death Coin. When Golden Freddy appears in your office, click the Death Coin and get a jump scare from Fredbear. Freddy and Friends on Tour. This is a cartoon created by Steel Wool to tease up the release of Security Breach. It was a Scooby-Doo style animation. In each episode, Freddy would ask Foxy to be a part of the band with Chica and Bonnie. Foxy would then chase them, running through the doorways in the hallways from Scooby-Doo, and they would then unmask Foxy to be an endoskeleton. Each episode would then finish with the band performing, and then a teaser for one of the characters. After the first episode was released on YouTube, a website was created called securitybreach.com, which would display the most recent episode released, The website is further explained in another entry. Freddy did the bite of 83. Due to the handprints on Freddy's eye and bottom jaw, people thought it was the handprints of a crying child trying to get his head out of Freddy's jaws. The handprint was then revealed to only show William putting the animatronic suit heads onto the kids' dead bodies. Freddy Fazbear's declining relevance. Despite being the titular character, Freddy has been getting less and less relevant, with each new installment being overshadowed by his golden counterpart or Springtrap or Baby every time. This finally changed in Security Breach when he became a major character and a gameplay mechanic. Freddy is a girl. This is a theory made by fans in which people think Freddy is a girl. This is because in FNAF 1, Freddy peeks out of the girl's toilet instead of the boy's toilet. This was debunked by the gravestones in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Simulator, in which Freddy's graves says Gabriel. But some people still think he's a girl, as both genders can use that name. Friday Night Funkin' mods. People make mods for the extremely popular rhythm game Friday Night Funkin'. Many Five Nights at Freddy's inspired mods have you beatboxing against the main animatronics from each game. A game is sometimes counted as a week, and they usually always reference lore in games. There aren't many mods actually being made in the death of Friday Night Funkin', and there are some YouTubers who use FNAF mods to get views on their videos, thus earning them more money. Funko Backlight Animatronics. Funko has a line of merchandise related to FNAF called Backlight Animatronics, and they are bright and colorful versions of the animatronics, but sadly don't actually glow in the dark. The Blacklight animatronics have never made an appearance in the video game series, but the four main Blacklight animatronics were once originally planned to be included in Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. They just go unused in the files. Funko leaks. There have been some occasions where Funko has accidentally leaked FNAF merch. They have mostly leaked Security Breach, as they once leaked all of the characters' names and the main glam rock animatronics designs. These accidental or purposeful leaks that Funko had done had caught them into some controversies with the Five Nights at Freddy's community and has led to Funko having their Five Nights at Freddy's license revoked, but then regained. Funko stealing fan designs. People have been saying that fan art or designs have been taken by Funko for their merchandise. Two of the most iconic moments of this being the arcade vinyl of Fredbear and Foxy in plush forms, which is just the basic Fredbear plush model used in SFM videos, and the Foxy plush was taken from the animation of FNAF plushies playing FNAF 4. The second one being the Twisted Chica pop, as it had been an unused look of the Twisted Chica done by Pinky Pills. Game theorists, Matt Pat. Hello Internet, welcome to Game Theory. That was my Matt Pat impression, by the way. Matt Pat is a more prominent figure in the Five Nights at Freddy's community. He has made a collective 56 videos on the topic of Five Nights at Freddy's. First being Game Theory, Five Nights at Freddy's scariest monster is you. In 2014, the latest being Game Theory, FNAF, the clue that almost solves everything, FNAF Security Breach. In 2022. Glamrock Freddy talks about Among Us. This was a meme in which Glamrock Freddy would notice a vent and tell Gregory to vent. He then goes on to ramble about the hit 2020 game Among Us, and this was getting so popular that the voice actor of Funtime Freddy, Glamrock Freddy, and Fredbear, Kellen Goff, dubbed over it. This was then shared on Daco's FNAF meme review and got even more popular from there. Golden Freddy is Fredbear. This is a theory in which people believe that the characters Golden Freddy and Fredbear are the same characters. This would only make sense back in the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 days, as we hadn't seen Fredbear, but we had seen Golden Freddy. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 had influenced this, as Fredbear appears in Stage 1 minigame with Spring Bonnie, and his hat was black, so was his bow tie. This was later debunked in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, in which Fredbear appears, but instead of a black hat and bow tie, they were purple. This was even further debunked in Ultimate Custom Night with the Fredbear Easter egg. Golden Freddy is in the kitchen. This is a fan theory which was started by the game theorists, in which it's believed that as you don't actually see Golden Freddy anywhere in the pizzeria, it is thought that he is sat in the kitchen camera, which you cannot see. As Golden Freddy is never seen until the poster is activated and the kitchen camera is always cut out, it makes it the perfect theory to be for Golden Freddy's situation in FNAF 1. This is believed by a huge amount of fans, as it does make sense. Golden Freddy is possessed by two souls. This is a theory which states the idea of two spirits, the Bite of 83 victim and the black-haired missing girl named Cassidy, both haunted Fredbear. The Golden Freddy is a combination of their two spirits. This got widely believed after the game theorists had made a video on this particular theory. Golden Freddy poster. There is a poster in the west hall corner of an image of Freddy Fazbear performing and facing the camera. Sometimes it can rarely change to a picture of Freddy in the same location, but instead their beers, looking like he's having an existential crisis. The majority of these memes that I've seen are shown in response to something with no text on them. Early glitch trap design. This refers to this picture of what was supposedly Glitch Trap's early design. It looks like they really toned it down for security breach, because to me this design looks a lot like Springtrap. Endo 1 with nostrils. In one of the cutscenes for FNAF 4, we can see the crying child locked inside the repair or maintenance room. On one of the shelves, we can see the head of one of the Endo 1s. What's interesting about this head is that it has nostrils, and it's unknown why. My guess is that it's probably just to make it look more like a skull or to symbolize death for a bit of foreshadowing. Innard's Mask teaser. This was a teaser for Sister Location that showed Innard's Mask. If you brighten the image, you would be able to see the projected release date. What's nice about the image is that Innard's Mask isn't in one piece and almost looks like it's falling apart. Like, not all of him is the same. Face in the static. In FNAF 1, when you get jump scared, you just get a screen of static after you die. There's some speculation online regarding if there are faces or details that can be seen in the static. Some see faces, some see eyes, but I think it's just a case of pareidolia or seeing something that isn't there. What do you think? Do you see anything? Fighter Mage Bard. Fighter Mage Bard is a mobile game released by Scott Cawthon in 2014, right before FNAF 1. It's a pixelated RPG game where you can choose between being a fighter, which is easy mode, a mage, which is medium, or a bard, which is hard mode. The game can be beaten within an hour by the experienced player, but with secret bosses and hidden upgrades, there's plenty of replay value to be found in this bite-sized adventure. Unfortunately, I could not find it on the Apple App Store. Maybe it's on like the Google App Store or something like that. FNAF 1 Foxy and the FNAF 2 trailer. In the third teaser for FNAF 2, we see Mangle and Foxy peeking out from behind a curtain with a 2 on it. What's unusual about this is that the Foxy on the left is the FNAF 1 model of Foxy, which doesn't appear in the game. Scott must not have been done with the Withered Foxy model. FNAF 2's phone call in the trailer. In the trailer for FNAF 2, we can hear Phone Guy saying, "If you're hearing this, then chances are you've made a pretty poor career choice," which is a line we only hear in the trailer and is never used in the game, which is a crying shame because it's a great line. FNAF 3 Night 7. There's a glitch where you can get access to Night 7 for FNAF 3, although it's pretty hard to execute and it's obvious you're not supposed to be able to access it. It doesn't give you any access to any sort of special ending or minigame. There's no special reward for completing it except for bragging points, but if you go around to the average FNAF fan and tell them you beat FNAF 3 Night 7, they probably won't believe you anyway. FNAF 3 Scream and My Little Pony. This refers to a sound effect used in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. In the scene, Starlight Glimmer says, "Everything else I've said is true. The only way to be happy is if we're all equal." To which Party Favor replies saying, "Except for you," inciting Starlight Glimmer to turn around, snarling. And at this moment, you can hear the sound effect that would later be used in FNAF 3 and 4. Here's the clip.
Everything else I said is true. The only way to be happy is if we're all equal.
Except for you.
FNAF face paint videos. There are plenty of videos online of people painting their faces to look like certain characters, and the FNAF fan base is not exempt from this, and you can find Springtrap, Circus Baby, Bonnie, Mangle, Ballora, and many others. FNAF underwear. Of course, if you're looking to add some comfort to your life, look no further than the FNAF underwear line. Indeed, you can go online and pick yourself up a pair of security briefs today. FNAFopedia. FNAFopedia is, well, it claims to be an online encyclopedia of FNAF knowledge. It's famous for consistently getting things wrong, for example, referring to events happening in 83 happening in 87, and pretending that William Afton doesn't exist while mentioning the missing children. Fredit Freebuild. Fredit Freebuild is an online community launched on July 6, 2015 that started as a Minecraft server based on Five Nights at Freddy's. 2018 is regarded as its only peaceful year because every other year of its existence has been filled with ownership battles, takeovers, and accusations left and right. As a result, it doesn't have a very good reputation. Freddy's Son. Freddy's Son is an NPC from Freddy in Space 2. He is Freddy Fazbear's son, if you didn't get that from the name, and he alerts Freddy to lolhacks his schemes and gets saved at the end of the game if you get the good ending. Funtime Fredbear. This is a fan-made image of what someone thought a Funtime Fredbear would look like in Sister Location.
If cartoon characters can be charged for their crimes, the kids at South Park better start running now. After spending 200 hours glued to my TV screen like that girl in Poltergeist, I've discovered an insane amount of crimes that Eric Cartman could be charged for.
You what?
I'll be covering all of the fat, bigoted sociopath's misdeeds, but I must warn you, some of these crimes you're about to see in this video are just pure, downright evil. Cartman can be a very angry little boy, and his temper does lead to some destruction here and there. For example, there was that time he destroyed like 90% of the stuff in Butters' room.
Hey boogie oogie bam bam, let's go body body boom boom. Hey boogie oogie bam bam, let's go body body boom boom. Hey boogie oogie bam bam, let's
Hai, terima kasih sebab tunggu.
Hapuskan bau makanan dengan Gardi Dui Aksi, mengurangkan bakteria oral. 12 jam perlindungan bakteria. Nafas berbau.
God. Oh, there we go.
Hey, my name is Coley, and I'm gonna see if We Fit actually works. But what does it mean to say when Wii Fit actually works? Well, in the case of this video, the term work means if you lose weight and you have improved balance. That's what the game says after all. And if it does work, that could be a pretty big deal. Getting healthy is easier said than done, and Wii Fit is potentially one of the most convenient and fun ways to do so. It's cheaper than a gym membership. So, let me explain my plan of attack here. Every day, I plan on going on Wii Fit, doing a balance test, and then working out for around 45 minutes in game time. I'm gonna start off with a fresh new me and making sure I'm only working out with Wii Fit. No doing intentional exercise or in the gym, just Wii Fit. My goal is to lose around a pound a week and eat around 2,000 calories a day. I plan on only doing this for a month since I think I would see some kind of result by then, but I'm willing to extend it if need be. So let's jump right in and begin my 1 month Wii Fit challenge. So starting off, let's see our current weight. Now, there's been some debate online about the accuracy of the balance board. So I decided to first weigh myself on a real scale and then compare it to the balance board. All right, this is day 1, January 1st. Here we go, starting with the weigh-ins. Here we go. Oh my God! 240? That was not a number I wanted to see. Surely that's all muscle, right? So with this big of a number, I was already pretty discouraged. I could just hear the very fat MP3 in my head, but I couldn't let that stop me. And it was time for me to boot up Wii Fit and see my me as skinny as it probably will ever be. Let's do our first body test.
I'd say my clothes. Ooh, maybe that. That seems fine.
Measuring. All done.
Cool. That was the easiest thing I've had to do all day. I'm the best. I don't think I need to do this, guys. I think I just got it. Well, by 0.5%. I have never seen anybody get that close to a perfect balance in my life. Oh my God.
I was not expecting that. Maybe I should be a Wii Fit trainer. But what I was really more curious about was the weight.
All right, I'm scared about this one.
That's obese.
I'm barely obese. Like, I'm 6. Like, I don't look like I'm super fat, but I mean, according to this, I am. Look at how big I am.
All right, so it's time that I address one of the elephants in the room here. BMI has gotten a lot of flack recently, and honestly, I don't really know that much about it. But thankfully, this game also shows your weight, which is what I will usually be looking at, and essentially ignore this BMI metric for myself. However, this game will have somewhat skewed opinions on my body because of how much they focus on my BMI, which may give me advice I'm not necessarily interested in or may not think is healthy. So I'll just need to keep this in mind moving forward. Also, take a look at the difference between the weight in-game and the weight IRL. This may seem like a big jump, but remember, I did select the -3 on clothing going into the test. So right now the balance board seems to be doing well. Like the -3 on clothing going into the test. So right now the balance board seems to be doing well. Now it was time to do our first basic balance test, which seemed pretty straightforward.
Like half a second to spare.
It's time to get our Wii Fit age. The Wii Fit age is supposed to tell me how my physicality is compared to how it should be my actual age.
So if I'm 22, that'd be pretty sick.
What is it?
What? What are you talking about? Alright, well, I guess that's why we're here. We're here to improve it, so let's do it.
And with the first test stamped on the calendar, the streak has officially started. Now it was time to put down our goal, which I really like how this game emphasized this process to the player. So I'll put down our goal for 4 pounds in 4 weeks, but I was also very curious just how close I would be from getting down to obese to overweight.
Oh shit, dude. If I lose the weight I want to, I'll go down. Okay. I didn't even realize that. That's great.
That is great past me. It's kind of crazy how that even lined up. But all right, with that out of the way, it was time to actually start getting fit with Wii Fit. Wait, what is this?
Oh, we get a pair of trainers. Who should we do? Should we do girl or boy? We fit trainer. Dude, I need my gym bro. I need a gym bro. That's what I need.
Have some fun.
This is awesome. We've got our own gym bro, and now it's time to start working out. So something I'm surprised no one has talked about when doing this kind of challenge is the routine they're doing. This is very important to decide on because what you do the most will affect your outcome. I could only play balance games this whole month, but I'm not sure if that's really the best way to lose weight. There are 5 categories, but the games themselves are actually more diverse and range in difficulty than this makes it out to be. So I wanted to try and do a little bit of everything each day. Eventually, I want to make proper and specific routines, but in this first week, Chat and I decided it would be best to try everything out at least once and get a feel for what is effective and what is total dog shit. Now keep your eye out for these numbers here called METs. And TLDR, the higher the MET number, the more calories you're likely to burn in the exercise. I would explain more, but it's really boring, and I've got to work out with my bro.
Ooh, let's do it.
Press down on the
Oh, hey there.
exercise every day to help tone your body.
I'm trying, man. Is that it? Oh my god. Give me that 4-star. Oh, baby! We could do more sets. Ah, oh, thanks, bro. You're pretty strong too, man. Here we go. We're gonna do 10. It's gonna be good.
A few minutes later.
Oh my god. I'm just gonna sit here for a second.
This first exercise has really kicked my ass, which is actually a good thing. This exercise was 3.5 METs, which is on the higher end, so I was expecting it to be a little on the tougher side. Let's do a day 1 lightning round of everything I did. I jiggled around with some hula hoop, I balanced on the tightrope. Whoa. I also decided to get the goofiest game out of the way with bird's eye bullseye.
So fly for a white guy. All right, here we go. I'm a white guy. Here we go. Let's go. Let's go. Uppies, uppies, uppies. Daddy wants uppies. Get center, 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 center. That's what I'm talking about!
Next, I decided to try doing my first ever attempt at yoga. This was the section I was actually looking forward to the least. So, as a total novice, I decided...
Okay, let's just do grounded B. Let's see how it goes. Oh my god!
Moving on to the next exercise, running in this game was rather disappointing. I'm not really sure what Wii Fit is trying to measure during the run, because it's not going by pace, but by burn rate, whatever that means. And I mean, look at what I'm doing.
All right, we're gonna go as fast as we can. Oh, you don't think I'm engaging my arms? I'm engaging my arms so good. You don't even know how well I'm engaging. I'm so engaged. I proposed. You're my fiance now. We're gonna get married. We're gonna have kids. Oh my god. Is this the runner's high everybody's talking about? There's a bad idea. Oh my god. We halfway there. I ain't giving up. I ain't giving up. Ah, let's go. I'm flashing before my eyes. Ah, come on. I can see it. Go, 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 go.
Oh, so fast.
My watch just asked me if I'm doing an indoor run. What?
If you don't have a website for your business, it might as well be invisible.
I still needed just a little more time, so I thought I would quickly do Lotus Focus. This is a very strange exercise. The goal is to sit as still as possible and focus on the flame of the candle, which is actually a real meditation technique. But this game could just not believe that I was sitting still, which was pretty frustrating. But with that, we got our 45 minutes in the bank and finished our first workout of the challenge. I felt pretty good about the first day, all things considered, and was excited to explore what Wii Fit had to offer. So the next day I got into the scale and I was extremely surprised. Unfortunately, I lost the photo of it, but my real scale said that I weighed 236 pounds, which is insane. Is Wii Fit really that effective, or am I doing something wrong? Also, if this is true, I've already met my goal for the whole month, but there's some context to consider. The initial weigh-in happened just before the first stream, but every weigh-in after day 1 was first thing in the morning. So the fact I had had nothing in my stomach was definitely a factor which I was anticipating. But still, 4 pounds? From what I understand, a healthy rate of losing weight is around a pound a week, so 4 times that amount is a little sus. When I went on We Fit, my suspicions were confirmed.
How much do I weigh? Okay. That's... Wow, really? 2 pounds in a day?
As you can tell, I was still pretty shocked about what We Fit said. I've already gotten halfway through my month-long goal. I wasn't feeling any kind of symptoms or out of the ordinary, so I guess the only thing I can do is keep my eye on it. My balance wasn't nearly as good as yesterday, but I still think it's decent for what it's worth. Despite this, I continued my quest in being familiar with every activity and was still having a lot of fun.
What was it? What is this? What is this? What is... Oh my god. Oh, dude, I'm cooked. I'm absolutely just fried. Okay, wow. What? What the... You'll join in? Let's go, dude. Let's go. That's what I like to see. I want you guys at home doing this too.
Don't forget to keep breathing while you exercise.
I know, man. That's like all I'm doing.
Great. You're pretty strong, aren't you?
Oh, bro. You are too, man. I love it. Want to get Chipotle later or something? I'd be down to it. Imagine they made like weighted Wii remotes and you could just like, that would have been crazy. I'm sure if you're like an engineer, you could probably figure out how to do it. Oh my god, dude, my gluteus maximus is shaking. I'm like torquing without consciousness. Why? I thought I was strong. I'm putting my whole yoga spirit into this.
Great. Keep it up.
Oh, thank you. Dude, you've just filled me with determination.
Very stable. Well done.
Thank you. So this is like Wipeout, dude. Oh my god, I kissed that ball. Dude, that was brutal. That is just like, you're dead. Like, you're absolutely dead. Ugh. Oh. I'm waiting. Jump! You saw me do it!
So day 3, I stepped on the scale and it said 235.6, to which I was relieved. It seemed like all was well and I wasn't dramatically losing weight, but We Fit threw me for a loop.
What? Am I okay? I just lost 4 pounds in 3 days. I already reached my goal for the end of the month.
Task failed successfully? So apparently We Fit's the greatest way to ever lose weight. Everybody get off the treadmill and do some fucking hula hoop. But seriously, I was really happy I reached my goal so fast, but a cloud of concern flew over me. Is this normal? I've lost weight before. I used to weigh 300 pounds back in the day, but it took me a whole year to reach the weight that I am today. I know I don't have insane genetics or something, and I don't feel hungry or sick. What is happening? Even We Fit thought it was alarming. So after the first week, let me give my explanation on what I think happened. I started this right at the new year, and I think my dietary choices from New Year's Eve essentially bulked me up. But then, from the very sudden change in diet I enacted on day 1, it led to a dramatic whiplash in weight. Now some of you may be thinking, well, Coley, isn't dieting kind of cheating this challenge? Like, yeah, I know dieting works, but what about We Fit? Actually, that is a good question. And the answer is, you kind of have to diet. As far as I know, it's practically impossible for you to not change your diet and just start working out and expect yourself to lose weight. Maybe at the start if your body isn't used to moving around as much, but that won't last long. You need a calorie deficit. But doing physical activity while dieting can still accelerate the process and provide other benefits as well, like balance. But I'm curious, if there's any medical professional or fitness expert watching this right now, comment down below what you think happened. So I reset my original goal to 4 pounds in a month in We Fit and continued through week 1. This week turned out to be a very important week where I made critical observations. One of these observations is time. Time is usually a huge reason why many people don't work out. They got other things to do, you know? And I found myself spending a lot more time working out than I thought. I was trying to do at least 45 minutes every day, but I was using the in-game counter. With resting in between exercises and the body test at the start, my workout in real time was actually around an hour and a half. Furthermore, some exercises take longer than others, and some are even built around the idea of purely upping your in-game time. So I'll need to take note of this tug of war when I make my actual routines. I felt my body adapting to the kinds of exercises, with sore muscles lingering around 3 days max. Usually these were in my legs, abs, or arms. And this was actually a good thing. It shows that Wii Fit is helping me work out the parts of my body they say they are. In fact, regardless if the exercise is good or bad, I found the instructions on how to do each activity very helpful. Now this sounds like a bunch of sunshine and rainbows, but in the other half of the week, there were some hurdles to jump through. For starters, day 4 was actually the first time I saw some weight gain. At first, I was pretty disappointed, but I had to remember that this is how weight loss works. What matters is the trajectory and not the current results. Day 5 and 6 were also not the greatest days in the world for me, and I didn't really feel like working out on either of those days. I was also doubting if this challenge was even worth it at this point, as I was discouraged by my lackluster start. But despite the pushback, I knew that these kinds of days were the most important, and I found the idea of keeping the streak alive a good push to keep going. And I'm glad I continued, because I was very excited for day 7. It was a landmark day, which highlighted a full week complete with Wii Fit. And let's see the progress. Even ignoring the first few days, we can see that there is still a downward trend, which means progress is being made. And let's not forget balance. Here's the overall what the f am I talking about? Here's the overall average of my balance in the first week. Left was around 50.5%, and the right was around 49.5%. Each day, my balance was a little different, so I think this metric is more useful than looking at it day by day. But this maths out. I find myself leaning toward the left most days. Ironically, my best day of balance was the first day, so am I technically getting worse with my balance? A caveat to this data is on day 7, where the game had me close my eyes, which actually led me to lean toward the right. Either way, it's still pretty close to perfect balance, and I think we're off to a pretty good start. Week 2 is where things really started to take off.
Yeah. Oh my god. Give me a 50-50. That's gotta be a 50-50. I gotta take a picture of this. I have never in my life seen a perfect 50-50. That's amazing. Wow, I actually didn't even think it was possible.
By day 10, I had finally played every single activity Wii Fit had to offer, and I was really surprised by a lot of things. I'm going to highlight some of my thoughts on the activities, but if you're interested in seeing me rank all of them, let me know down in the comments. The biggest surprise of this entire challenge had to be just how much I enjoyed yoga. When taking a look at the positions, it was honestly pretty intimidating sometimes. But once they explained what you actually do, it really wasn't that difficult at all. One position was kind of haunting me from the get-go, which was the shoulder stand.
Am I really about to do this? Oh, no, 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 no. This is probably the craziest thing I'm about to do. Oh my god. Don't strain yourself. That's the first time we've seen that message.
Just watch me, and I'll show you how to do this pose. Inhale and lift both legs. Then exhale as you lift your back. Stretch your legs back towards you.
Oh! What? This is gonna be bad. This is gonna be so bad. This is gonna be actually horrible.
Are you ready? Let's give it a try.
Dude, I don't think I'll ever be ready. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Lift both legs.
Oh my god.
As you lift your back. Stretch your legs back toward your head.
No! I'm doing it! I'm doing it! I'm doing it! I'm back! Oh! The fucking Eiffel Tower. Ah! Never mind. Not the Eiffel Tower, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. My back's all sweaty. Oh!
Lower your back.
Oh my god, I did it! I did it at least as an amateur. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Woo! That was fun. I want to do it again, actually.
So getting your legs up above your head is the scariest part, because you just don't know how far you're gonna go. You feel like your neck's about to snap off. But once you realize, like, all the weight is just kind of on your back, you're like, oh wait, I can kind of do this. We did it! Oh my god! I actually was completely expecting to fail, but that was so
cool. While there were some positions I found more effective than others, I actually became excited to get a good stretch and take a break from the more rigorous games and activities. Yoga seemed much more thought out than its partner's strength training. While there were a lot of good exercises, there were some that were just downright bad in my opinion. Usually these bad ones are just trying to make up or adjust for the balance board. For example, doing push-ups, planks, and lunges all felt effective. However, one of my least favorites was the rowing squat. It's this weird activity where it tries to combine the back exercise and the leg exercise. But the fact that you're combining these two exercises makes it difficult to even work out the muscles they should. It baffles me that this game uses the Wii Fit balance board and does not have a straight up squatting exercise. It just seems like the perfect fit. I understand why they tried this though. There are essentially no good back or chest exercises in this game. One exercise that pleasantly surprised me though was the arm extensions. If there are any weightlifters watching, this kind of looks like a joke. At least that's what I thought. But it is surprisingly very effective. They offer a fair amount of reps, and the fact that you push your arm back with the other creates a bigger stretch while keeping your arms stable. They even suggest ways to do it outside of the game by using other objects like a water bottle to increase your weight. I thought that was pretty cool. Regardless of how effective I think they are, I could still do all the exercises except for one.
Let's do this, man. This one's like the real deal. This is some like Joe Rogan shit. I've never done these before with the kettlebell, so I guess I'll look and see what it's like first. Okay.
Hold your arm perpendicular to the floor at all times. Focus on your abs as you raise up from the floor. From here, push yourself up into a standing position.
Wait, that's it? You're just getting up with your arm held high? That's it? That's all you do? Oh my god! Joe, what? Oh, oh my god! You're crazy! Oh, you're crazy! Oh my god! No! Catch up, catch up, catch up! Okay. Oh! Oh my! Your arm held high? That's it? That's all you do? Oh my god! Joe! What? Oh! Oh my god! You're crazy! Oh! You're crazy! Oh my god! I can't even do anything! What? I can't even get up. My feet are slipping on the chair mat. Oh my god. What do I even do? I don't even know how to improve what I just did. He went insanely fast. Maybe I'll do it like right here. All right. Let's try this again. How do you sit down? Oh my god.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I...
Oh my god. Dude. What the hell is that? Is that... What is... What? What are you even supposed to do? What do you have to say to that?
Your arms were pretty shaky during this exercise. A stable body will help you maintain good posture.
Thanks. That's all you gotta say? No helpful hints or tips? Not helpful if he's going at it Mach speed. That is like actually insane. Look at him. He's stretching it like it's nothing.
But many of you are more curious about the games, and for the most part, I think they're all really fun. But at best, I think they're mildly effective workouts. I think exercises like the balance bubble and table tilt are the best for balance because it focuses on all axes of your movement. It's not just leaning left or right. All the aerobic exercises I think are equally good, but they can just get rather repetitive. Like seriously, 10 minutes of this? If you're looking for a more laid-back experience, then the step games are the way to go. But if you're interested in something more rigorous, boxing and surprisingly hula hoop are great options. I had a weird relationship with running during the challenge. At first, I was rather annoyed with it.
Yeah? Huh?
but then I kind of grew to like it. It's kind of cool that something like this exists, and between this game and cycling, it's just so fun exploring the island and enjoying living in the present for a bit. The free modes are the way to go. You can just go at your own pace and burn the calories away.
Now the moment you've all been waiting for.
My number one Wii Fit game is Bird's Eye Bullseye. It's fun, it's goofy, it's engaging, you fly around the island, it's a great balance game, and as silly as it sounds, flapping your arms is actually a really great way to work out your shoulders and just move around more. So with the acquired knowledge of doing every single exercise, it was time to think about creating an actual routine and schedule for the rest of the month. Thankfully, the game can actually aid us in that. See, I chose Wii Fit Plus for a reason, and there are multiple, but the biggest reasons are that it's the most accessible version of the game, and it has the Wii Fit Plus locker room. In this locker room, there are a number of useful things, but more specifically, routines. They're split up into 4 categories, with each category having 3 routines, and each routine having 3 exercises. I wasn't really sure how I wanted to make my own routines, so I thought trying these out could help give me a reference point. Also, I was feeling lazy and I didn't really feel like making my own right now. In short, these routines are better than nothing. I think some of these exercises are really stretching it, pun not intended. But I did learn 3 important factors. One thing I noticed right off the bat was how limiting these were. You do the same 3 exercises every time, but more importantly, you can't up the difficulty. It defaults to the easiest, but an important aspect to working out is continuing to push the needle forward and keep the difficulty. So that was the first thing I wanted to make sure I enabled in my routines, increasing difficulty. I also noticed what the routines were focused around. When going to the gym, I'm used to organizing my days by the groups of muscles I work out: the arms, legs, chest, back. But Wii Fit categorized these routines by what they would do for your overall body. And honestly, I don't think either method works to a T here. Wii Fit skews to having more focus on legs, abs, and arms, so there isn't room for as much diversity. Furthermore, the in-game routines were kind of vague, and it seems like they were struggling to come up with some of these categories. So that was the second thing I wanted: a clear, effective focus. Finally, while I never tried this mode, this game had the My Routines option, where you can create a workout for yourself with whatever range of time you prefer. I actually think this is a really cool feature, and if you want to take Wii Fit to the highest level, I think this is a great way to do so. But something this option omits is the games, and I think one of the core benefits of Wii Fit is making exercising fun. So that was the third and final thing: keeping it fun. So to cross the first thing off the list, I used something that caught my eye since day one: the strength challenges. These challenges
Whether it's crazy products, easy recipes, or useful tips, TikTok has some insane diet hacks. Now, I've scrolled through hours of AI-generated bullshit just to find the best ones. So let's start off with a viral recipe. Now, pizza. It's one of those foods that are extremely hard to fit in while on a diet, and that sucks because it's pizza. However, the algorithm has blessed me with this recipe.
This bowl right here tastes just like a pizza, but it's packed with protein and it's gonna help you get shredded. Let me put you on some game.
Now, I have seen these pizza bowls more times than I've seen my own mother this past month, but they must be God's gift to dieting because everybody and their mother are obsessed with it.
Lower calorie, higher protein pizza bowls. Pizza bowls. Pizza bowls. Pizza bowls. Pizza bowl.
Pizza bowls.
Pizza bowl. The freaking cottage cheese pizza bowl.
Simple ingredients and you can make it in 2 minutes with insane macros. What's the catch? Surely it doesn't taste like dog shit, does it? First you put cottage cheese and then mix in some pizza sauce. After that, sprinkle on some reduced fat mozzarella, some seasoning of your choice, give it a mix, and then top it with some turkey pepperoni. Toss it in a microwave and you're good to go. Will it taste like pizza? I highly doubt it. This here is about 260 calories and 30 grams of protein. Let's see how it tastes. Very cheesy, very cheesy. How does that even happen? Wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. Hold up a second. Hold your horses. Uno momento. That's good. I think with dieting, you have to be a little realistic. And this is a realistic, good macro, high quality meal. I really like this a lot. It's giving me like a Hot Pocket kind of vibe. See, for each hack that we try throughout this video, I'm gonna be rating them up to 5 stars based on how effective they are. Whatever diet hack gets the highest score, I'm going to recreate a TikTok doing it. If it's as good as I say it is, surely it'll go viral, right? For our pizza bowl, I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. We are starting off very strong. However, what TikTok has shown me is that what you're eating with might be just as important as what you're eating. Let me explain. Have you guys ever wondered how you could culturally appropriate an entire race all while losing weight? It's a question I ask myself every single day, and I think I finally found an answer, which for that, we're gonna need something special. Now, what are our special needs? Well, aside from myself, chopsticks. I saw this TikTok and I really thought it was a genius hack.
Something that I don't think is talked about enough that helps you lose weight, well, at least helped me, was using chopsticks. Keeps you from eating the food in less than 5 seconds.
Now really, this is beneficial for multiple reasons. For one, it's going to make you eat a lot slower, so your mind's going to be able to recognize when you're full. Additionally, it's going to make your food feel a lot more voluminous, but I really want to test how much of a difference it's actually going to make. To see that, I'm going to eat a meal with a fork and then eat the same meal again tomorrow with chopsticks. I'll time myself to see if I'm actually taking longer to eat with chopsticks. Now, if you haven't noticed, I'm not Asian, I'm white. I'm not very good with chopsticks, so that off the bat is gonna increase the time a little bit. I'll probably use these so bad that they're gonna cancel me just for that. For my meal, I have 125 grams of white rice and 6 ounces of ground beef. I am going to keep these meals the exact same, and our timer starts now. I'm done. Took me 5 minutes and 32 seconds. Now, I didn't want to scarf it down and make it unrealistic. I wanted to eat it how I'd normally eat it. Granted, I had no TikTok, so that was impressive. I just raw dogged this meal. I haven't done that in like 6 years. How did I just do that? But let's see how long this is gonna take with some chopsticks. And just like that, we are back with my ground beef and rice already prepared and my chopsticks in my hand. Now, would it be racist if I played some Asian music while I ate this food? If you don't hear Asian music, that most likely means that I put it out. Let's eat. I'm kidding. I know how to use chopsticks a little bit. I've eaten at a Japanese restaurant before. I'm just not a pro. But maybe this diet hack will be so good that I'll use these so often and I will become a pro. So let's start our timer. Go. $11 minutes and 42 seconds, so it took me over double the time to finish the food with chopsticks. Honestly as well, I was noticing myself getting fuller as the time went on because I was eating slower. Typically when I am eating, I'll activate my eating disorder superpowers and finish the meal in record time, but this allowed me to really slow it down. Truthfully, it works. Is it practical, and are you going to be carrying around chopsticks everywhere you go? Probably not, but if you could keep a set of chopsticks at home and have a big meal with chopsticks, it could really help. I'll give this tip 4.5 stars. I recommend trying this one out. When you are dieting, it's not gonna matter whether you're using chopsticks, a spoon, your hands, or even a fork when ultimately, you can't put that fork down. And I mean, I really can't blame people. Sometimes food is just too good, and as a matter of fact, it's actually psychologically rewarding. For example, let's take this piece of cake that I have here. Sweet treats like this are going to trigger a dopamine rush inside your brain that makes you feel good. That's why when you see people are emotionally eating, they're really just trying to get that hit of dopamine. However, what if there was a way to eat this and feel nothing? All because you'd be able to choose not to taste it. I saw this hack where you take a knife and you cut the taste buds out from the back of your mouth. And after that, you're not going to be able to taste a single thing. Then after a few weeks, they will eventually grow back. But for the meantime, you will stop eating. I'm totally kidding. Imagine somebody stopped watching the video there and went to go try that, and then I got sued. That would be interesting. Please don't try that. But I did find a product that does something pretty similar, just without the knife. Take a look at this TikTok.
Stop! What are you doing? If you want to avoid those sweet cravings at random times, try craveless gums. You can crave what you can taste, you know?
So judging by this TikTok, I could chew this gum and then I wouldn't be able to taste this cake, meaning I probably wouldn't want to eat it. Why would you want to eat something that you can't taste? Also gonna be washing this down with the greatest energy drink, Gorilla Mind, and theoretically, I wouldn't be able to taste this either. They advertise this as a craving killer. Chew one piece, and those cravings for anything else simply fade away. Candy, meh. Cookies, blah. Fast food? No thanks. In minutes, sweet tastes disappear. Just chew and conquer. I did not know that fast food was a sweet treat. Let's give it a go. They say one daily, but I'm gonna do two. It is kind of like a strong minty flavor though, so ooh, hitting the back of my throat. Pause. I think I'm losing my either the gum is losing its taste or I'm losing my taste, because all of a sudden I have no taste in my mouth, which kind of makes this taste really bad. Although I can't taste it, but I'm saying like it's like I don't know how to describe this. It's just like a nothingness that's minty. It's weird. I just spit out the gum. Let's dig back into this cake and see how it tastes. I'm a little nervous because somebody commented on their post and they said, chew this gum that makes food taste bad. Stay skinny, don't eat. And they responded saying, you are 100% right. Way to fuel an eating disorder. I mean, I don't want my food to taste bad. I guess I wouldn't want it to taste like anything. Let's see.
What?
Oh man. Yeah, so 90% of that sweetness is gone, which is kind of gross because I guess that's the point, right? I can barely taste it. How about my Gorilla Mind? It tastes like I'm drinking seltzer. That's actually really crazy. Again though, that's like the whole point of it. You want your food to not have any taste so you're not going back and craving it. And honestly, I don't want this cake anymore. The question is, would this be a good diet hack to incorporate so you don't overeat on junk food? Partially, I would say yes, but I also feel like it's pretty damaging to your relationship with food. You shouldn't not want to taste your food. Food is great and it's okay to enjoy food that you are eating. It's also okay to have a piece of cake. Just track it and have it in moderation. And even if you don't have it in moderation, you're gonna be okay. So training people to want to not taste their food when they do crave something, I feel like that might be more damaging than just having the piece of cake itself. However, it is effective, so I will give it 3 stars. With that, you can have your cake and taste it too, which in that case is good, but there are low-calorie recipes that you can make to fit your goals. Now, if you could not tell, I love cake. Not because I'm fat, hopefully you didn't think that because I was fat, but because of that carrot cake. Did you think that because I was fat? Now I'm insecure. The thing is, as much as I love cake, cake does not love me. However, I saw this TikTok here that had 1.4 million views, showing a protein mug cake.
There are zero excuses not to be shredded this summer when this exists. This protein mug cake tastes elite and the macros are insane.
Listen, when it comes to these low-calorie or high-protein recipes, if it requires 95 ingredients that you need to order from some random websites just to make it, I'm not doing it. I think that these low-calorie recipes should be quick, easy, and simple enough for a 7-year-old or one Andrew Fox to be able to understand it. And if not, I'm not making it. Now, this one does seem simple enough, right? But then I went to the comment section and I was a little concerned. Almost every comment was just a failed attempt at making it, showing that their mug exploded. And then there was an image of this couple, which I don't know why it was there. Why would you comment that? But another person also commented saying, I have a feeling this is very bitter, which tells me these people would rather comment about it than just to try it. So that's what I'm here for. I'll be the guinea pig. I might also blow up my microwave, but oh well. The cost of being skinny, am I right? Yeah, you guys just called me fat. Don't think I didn't know that. First step, get your mug. I'm gonna be using this one. That's my cat deadlifting. So if this breaks, I'll be very upset. Then you're gonna do 30 grams of protein, 1 tablespoon of flour, half a tablespoon of baking powder, tablespoon of cocoa powder, 70 milliliters of milk. I'm using fat-free Fairlife. Then you mix. Now after it's thick, I'm gonna toss it in the microwave for 1 minute. I'll see you on the other side, brother. Good luck. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. That was a close one. I can't lie though, it looks absolutely diabolical. But I'm sure some people say the same thing about me. Then I turn out to be a nice guy. That's like this cake. I am cake because this looks disgusting, but it might be a nice cake. 250 calories and 35 grams of protein in this mug. The consistency on the parts that are not liquidy do look pretty good. It does have a cake consistency.
Beat that. Oh.
Hold up. I kid you not. It tastes like a lava cake. That is really good. I was fully expecting myself to have fucked this up, and I was nervous because I was gonna be embarrassed that you guys would think that I was stupid, but I didn't. This is good. Now that is what a low-calorie, high-protein snack should be. It took me 3 minutes to make it, had simple ingredients, and was delicious. I'm gonna give that 4.5 stars. Crazy enough, we also have a cake with hundreds of grams of protein that we'll be trying later, but this one was tasty. It's something that you can enjoy if you're a kid or if you're an adult. However, there are some adults who are eating like a kid in attempts to lose weight. Could you believe that? Now, I don't know if I'm just too old or maybe I'm just too normal, but I saw a TikTok saying that they were using baby food to diet.
These Gerber puffs are such low calorie, 25 calories, only 6 servings per container. Full thing of these, they taste absolutely fire. This is a diet hack.
My first thought was, I mean, there are weird people out there, right? I mean, there's people who dress up as animals and like doing the dirty. So who am I to judge people if they eat baby food? I think that's something I could let slide. But then I went to the comment section and I saw another person comment how she likes eating the yogurt ones. That comment had 72 likes, so I said, this must be a cult. However, another TikTok popped up of a person doing the exact same thing. Now, either the algorithm is doing its job, or this is a seriously good diet hack that I need to check out. So let's go investigate. Alright, grain and grow. Well, I'm definitely trying to grow. 25 calories for 60 pieces and 6 servings per container. Also getting these yogurt melts. This entire bag is only 120 calories. Can't say I don't feel weird being the only childless adult in the baby food aisle, but hopefully these don't send me to the diaper aisle next. Speaking of diapers, bro, I mean, what is that form? Those are not pull-ups. Bro is small. He probably eats Gerber puffs. All right, we're back. We know the macros on these things are good, but are they going to taste good? Because that's the only way that I could justify eating baby food as a 25-year-old man, as a fitness influencer, nonetheless, who's trying to be something serious in life and trying so hard. But here I am, eating baby food in my kitchen. Aw, they're star-shaped! Oh my god! That's so cute! That's so cute! Alright, so for 7 grams, we're gonna get 25 calories. So, let's see how much that actually is. Oh, I went to 8. So that's 25 calories right there. Honestly, not as voluminous as I would have thought. Although it is kind of a lot of pieces, like, it's a decent amount. Let's see how they taste.
It is gonna grow.
They don't really have much of a taste. Honestly, it's not a bad snack if you wanted to have something to kind of keep your mouth busy while you were watching a TV show or something like that and you didn't want to have some high-calorie food. It's not bad. But now, let's try our yogurt melts. They look like a failed attempt at Hershey Kisses, but, I mean, they're baby food, so I'm trying not to be too judgmental. Let's just give it a go. Honestly, these taste like freeze-dried strawberries, like almost identical to that. Like it has a kind of sourness and tartness to it at first, but then it's sweet and it tastes kind of nice. Pretty addicting, to be honest. What can I say? I'm a fan. I think this is a great hack to incorporate if you are somebody who struggles with eating. They are very voluminous while also being low in calorie, which is what you want on a diet. It's something that you could kind of binge on and not feel guilty afterwards, because it was designed for somebody who's 8 months old. For the baby food hack, I'm gonna give it 4 stars. If you are somebody who's under the age of 8 months and you are watching my videos, remember, eat these in moderation, don't go overboard, or else you will look fat. Could you imagine that? Food hack, I'm gonna... I'm gonna give it 4 stars. If you are somebody who's under the age of 8 months and you are watching my videos, remember, eat these in moderation, don't go overboard, or else you will look fat. Could you imagine that? 8-month-old Andrew Fox. Subscriber. What a life he has. Although before we all go running to the store and put all of the baby food out of
Unfortunately, the only time anything Fredbear related appears in Sister Location is a Fredbear plush in the breaker room. Glamrock Bonnie. Glamrock Bonnie is an animatronic canon to Security Breach, but we never see him. He is mentioned in a few lines, so we know that he at one point did exist in the location, and it's heavily implied that Monty killed or dismembered Glamrock Bonnie in order to take his place in the band. Gummy Pizza Slice. This is a gummy made to look like a slice of pizza sold at FYE since 2018. Its description reads, "Fuel your night shift at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza with this giant gummy pizza slice. Since it comes with all the toppings, you should have plenty of energy to stay vigilant. Sweet gummy flavors include orange, green apple, strawberry banana, cherry, and mango." Goat Animatronic. People were making fake versions of the Goat animatronic, and it was said to be a costume version of Endo 2. The majority of FNAF fans were not fooled because they knew Endo 2 would either be a Freddy variant or a Foxy variant. Later That Night. Later That Night refers to the secret minigame section in the game Midnight Motorist from Pizzeria Simulator. There is a gap in the bottom corner of the road at one point, and if you go through it, you'll immediately begin the Later That Night game. During this game, you drive along a road until you come to a fork in the road, where you can go straight or west. If you go west, you'll arrive at Junior's. If you try to go in, the person at the door will tell you, "Come on, you know you can't be here. Don't make this any more difficult than it has to be." Once you get back into your car, continue down the road and it'll get more and more narrow until you get out of the car and follow the path to your house. Once inside, you'll enter the living room and find someone, presumably a child, watching TV. If you approach them, they'll say, "Leave him alone tonight, he had a rough day." If you go further into the house, you'll see a door that, when approached, a knocking sound will play and your character will say, "I told you not to close the door." If you try to leave, your character will say, "This is my house, you can't ignore me like that." And if you return to the door, a pounding sound will play with your character shouting, "Open the door." Once it's clear that the door won't budge, you leave, saying to yourself, "I'll find a way in from outside." Outside at the back of the house, you'll find a broken window and footprints leading into the forest behind the house. Your character says, ran off to that place again. He will be sorry when he comes back. And at this point, the minigame ends and you go back to your pizzeria. Lolbit mask in the primary control module. In sister location, Ennard's mask can be seen hanging high on the wall directly in front of you. Sometimes this mask can be replaced with Lolbit's mask. Fun little detail. Mangle calls the police. One of the characteristics of Mangle is their static noise that they play. It has what sounds like garbled speech, and some have tried to decipher what it means, and have come to the conclusion that what we're hearing is the recording of the police radios and sounds around them right after the bite of 87. Phrases like, "we got a little boy," and something about a frontal lobe are claims to be heard. Here's the recording. What do you guys hear? Markiplier animatronic. The Markiplier animatronic is a secret animatronic in the FNAF fan games Five Nights at Candy's 1, 2, and 3, and it can be triggered by clicking the warp stash drawing in camera 11. He then appears on the PC, on the player's desk, and yells, "I am the king of Five Nights at Freddy's." This is a nod at what Mark says upon beating the 5th night of the original FNAF game, and he has repeated this phrase many other times. In the remastered versions of Five Nights at Candy's, when clicking the warp stash in the drawing room, Markiplier appears on the PC and says, "Wahaha, hey there. Hey, how you doing there, kitty cat?" This line refers to the first time he played Five Nights at Candy's, in which Cindy had appeared at the door for the first time. FNAF Monopoly Clue. Monopoly is a great, or evil, depending on who you ask, board game to play for lots of family fun, or suffering. Cluedo, also known as Clue in North America, is a murder mystery board game in the same vein as Monopoly. They both have lots of variations based on lots of different fan bases, and one of the variations they both have is Five Nights at Freddy's. Look at the Monopoly version. I want it so badly. Nightmare Purple Guy. This could be referring to a number of things, but I think it's referring to this image posted on Reddit by FNAF Giffer7 on the Five Nights at Freddy's subreddit. I can't really decide if this is scary or not. It's kind of neutral, I guess. But other things this entry could be referring to are various YouTube hoaxes where people claim to have seen or captured footage of a Nightmare Purple Guy in games like FNAF 2, but in reality, it's just a recolored Nightmare Bonnie. Orange Guy symbolizes William Afton. In the Later That Night minigame discussed earlier in Pizzeria Simulator, you play as an orange character. The consensus among most of the community is that this represents William Afton, from him pounding on the child's door, referencing FNAF 4, to him talking to his son inside the house, presumably Michael. People have pieced together that this orange fellow is most likely Afton himself. Phone Guy is Purple Guy. This is a theory that was popularized by MatPat in 2015. I do want to say that although this theory is pretty much laughable now, back in 2015 it made a lot of sense. Consider these points in context. Phone Guy is the purple guy because he's the only one who knows about the safe room and the springlock suits. Because he says Foxy is his favorite and is standing next to Pirate Cove smiling in the Foxy minigame, and because he is holding a phone in the Save Them minigame. In the context of 2015, this was borderline irrefutable proof that Phone Guy was Purple Guy. Of course, now we can look back and laugh. Pickles the Parrot. This refers to Rockstar Foxy's parrot, who was never given a name. Fans have named it though, and they decided on Pickles. The decision was made to name it Pickles simply because there's a jar of pickles available for purchase in the Pizzeria Simulator, and its purpose is unknown, other than granting 9 happiness points. So, since the parrot doesn't really have a purpose, yet grants happiness, the parrot was named Pickles. At least, I assume that's what the thought process was. Please maintain 6 feet of distance sign. This is a sign that can be seen in Security Breach, and it shows 2 characters with a short distance between them, with the caption, "Please maintain 6 foot distance." This is probably meant to encourage people not to get too close to the animatronics. Scalers. These are discontinued trinket-like toys that you would attach to thin pieces of cord like headphone wires. They just hang there as an accessory, and I assumed they just weren't popular enough. They did come up with a variation of them, though, that lights up. Yes, light up it does. that was my Yoda impression for the person that requested it. I know it's garbage. You don't have to tell me. Scott getting calls from pizza places. His entry's title is a little misleading. What this refers to is Freddy's Restaurant and Pizzeria getting a huge influx of calls from children asking if it's the real Freddy Fazbear's location. They would sometimes get 200 calls an hour and became increasingly upset as real paying customers couldn't get through. Scott Cawthon took to Reddit to tell everyone not to call any numbers found in the game, but it's unclear whether or not this actually worked. Eventually, the restaurant closed down for unrelated reasons. Scott said Bonnie does not abide by the laws of physics. In FNAF 1, Bonnie is known to teleport across multiple rooms at once. When addressing this, Scott Cawthon said that Bonnie does not abide by the laws of physics, and to me, that makes him even scarier. Secret Shrek cutscene in Sister Location Custom Night. This is a YouTube video uploaded by Way2 that parodies the Sister Location Custom Night cutscenes. It features an 8-bit version of All Star by Smash Mouth, playing over an animation of Shrek walking through a neighborhood, and ends with Donkey getting kicked out of Shrek's house in a swamp. I've linked the video in the description for you to check out. Security breach difficulty settings. Strings of code for features such as changing difficulty to easy, medium, and nightmare can be found, alongside code suggesting that time passed as the player played instead of the hard-coded time progression found currently. The text mentions, warning, time does not stop when looking at the Fazwatch. Springtrap's jump scare is bad because he recognizes his son. This is a fan theory posted on the Five Nights at Freddy's subreddit by a user by the name of Dr. Purpleman. He proposes that the reason Springtrap's jump scare in FNAF 3 is so bad is because Springtrap, William Afton, recognizes that the night guard is his son, which is also why his eyelids go up so suddenly when jump scaring the player. A comment adds on to this, saying that another reason why Springtrap's jump scare is so bad could be due to the fact that Afton isn't intimidated by the night guard and knows he is in complete control. What do you guys think? Supposed Scott Cawthon photo. Back when FNAF first came out, when you would look up Scott Cawthon's name and try to find photos of him, this was one of the only pictures that would come up. I, along with many others, have never seen this photo before, as for some reason it doesn't really show up a lot anymore. Tater the Waiter Gator. This is a fan-made animatronic by Yoshidashite on Imager. He's a weirdly simple looking gator, but it really feels like there's something going on beneath the surface, like he's trying to swindle me into buying a car I don't want or something. Oh, I know what it is. He looks like Plato the Publixorus. Tentacles in the static. In the static and security breach, if you increase the contrast, you can very clearly see dark tentacles of what looks like something swimming. What could it be? A giant squid? Nightmarian? Something from Japan? Maybe we'll never know. Unwithered Bonnie. Some fans have taken to programs like Blender to try to construct what Withered Bonnie would have looked like before he was withered, hence the unwithered part of this entry. Based on the lower teeth that are still present in his withered model, he probably had some prominent teeth on his upper jaw as well. All of the models of the unwithered Bonnie I've seen have looked relatively good, but definitely uncanny in some way. It just doesn't pass as something originally made to entertain kids. FNAF Truth or Dare videos. Remember the last video where I said as we go deeper into the iceberg the entries get more and more fun to talk about? This is proof. FNAF Truth or Dare videos refers to YouTube videos where the animatronics are dared to do certain things, often to each other. My favorite is from Ignited Animations where Freddy is dared to kiss Chica but he hesitates, then admits he's always had feelings for her. Another one is where Bonnie is dared to stare at Chica while she eats pizza. The video link is in the description. Some things just happen during the game making process. I can't explain Golden Freddy. This is a quote from Scott Cawthon where he was interviewed by Geeks Under Grace in 2014. In the interview, the last question was, what's the story behind Golden Freddy? To which Cawthon replied, sometimes things just happen in the game making process. I can't explain Golden Freddy. This was all he said in response. I do feel like this is a bit of a blow to those who believe that Cawthon had the entire idea for the story fleshed out before he even started the game, and that he developed the first FNAF with the other 3 core games in mind, and I really don't think that was the case. Sewer slide didn't work. In the sister location trailer, Circus Baby says the words, "Don't hold it against us," but if you play it backwards, you might be able to hear the words, "Sewer slide didn't work." This is in the same boat as Mike Kill All, and it's not meant to be a hidden message, it's just a case of cognitive bias. I mean, if you really were to find some random recording of a person speaking on behalf of a group and they said the words "don't hold it against us," are we to actually believe that since we're able to reverse it and hear the words "sewer slide didn't work," that the person speaking was hiding some sort of secret message? No, it's just cognitive bias. Well, congratulations, you beat a fictional character in a fictional game. Bravo, big deal. This is a hidden line of code in FNAF World after you beat the game getting any ending. This could explain the cold, unfulfilling, and somewhat strange endings in the game. Finding a message like this could be discouraging or funny, but I'm sure the code wasn't meant to be taken as something malicious and was put in as an Easter egg joke. 2 versions of Crying Child and Mystery Mini. This entry refers to the fact that there are 2 known versions of the Crying Child in the Mystery Minis line by Funko. These are little pieces of FNAF merchandise you can buy online or at retail locations. They don't actually do anything and are just fun to have around. But yes, there are in fact 2 versions of the Crying Child. One was used for promotional reasons and is the Crying Child with black tears, and the one that's on the shelves has blue tears. An interesting change, but I think I like the advertisement version better. Bears are extinct in the FNAF universe. It's a sad fact to come to terms with, but bears are extinct in the FNAF universe. This bit of trivia comes from a line of unused dialogue from the hand unit in Security Breach. The line goes, "Did you know that bears like pizza sauce more than honey? It's true. Before their extinction, bears were known to attack pizza delivery trucks more than any other food service vehicles. This has been another Faz fact." And this makes me pretty sad since bears are pretty cool, and even though I wouldn't want one for a pet, I'd still want one to sing to me while I eat its pizza. Bootleg chocolate Springtrap plush. This is one of the ugliest things I've ever seen in my entire life, and my day has been worsened for having seen it. This is from Then Dat Plush Co. in Vietnam. It looks like it's trying to seem angry while actually being passive. It also looks like it's trying and failing to poop out the 5 pounds of aquarium rocks it ate earlier that day. Ennard was supposed to be his own animatronic. This is a theory that proposes that Ennard was not supposed to be a combination of a bunch of different animatronics, but his own. His tagline, "There's a little bit of me in everybody," is literally the opposite of what Ennard is, as there's actually a little bit of everybody in him. Also, the sister location source code schedule covered in a previous tier, he is listed as OOS, or out of service, implying that he was at one point his own functioning animatronic, independent of anything else. FNAF claymation, but it's shoddy like a melody. I don't know why this exists. ZeroFi on YouTube took a claymation video from Skylux and put the song Replay by Eaz over the top of it. Why? Your guess is as good as mine, but the video is legendary. I linked it in the description for you to check out. FNAF referenced in iCarly. This is a joke entry that refers to a clip from iCarly in which Sam and Carly are approached by someone in a bear suit. They engage in a dialogue with this bear, and it's revealed that it's Freddy, another character in the series, inside the suit. They proceed to beat the crap out of Freddy, and he collapses onto the floor. And there's so much in this video in just a few seconds. We've got a bear suit, the dude's name is Freddy, he says, "It's me," it's a kid in the suit, and he gets beaten over the head. Here's the clip. Freddle's Jump Scare. This is a fan-made animation of what a Freddle's jump scare in FNAF 4 could look like. It's done by Way2 on YouTube. Here's a short clip. The video is linked in the description for you to check out. Freddy Fazbear. This is a meme in which the poster responds to the question, "Do you know who Freddy Fazbear is?" And the meme says, "Yes, I know who Freddy Fazbear is," and shows a gif of a bear walking sped up. Get it? Because the bear is fast. Fazbear. Freddy Fazbear. Mediocre Melodies Whispers. This entry refers to mediocre melodies, which are 5 buyable characters from the Pizzeria Simulator. They later appear in Ultimate Custom Night, and during their voice lines, you can hear whispering while they talk, and sometimes after they talk. After listening to the audio carefully, I've determined that the whispers are just repeating what the animatronics are saying, but slightly delayed. Here's some audio.
He tried to release you. He tried to release us. But I'm not gonna let that happen. I will hold you here. I will keep you here. No matter how many times they burn us.
Mr. Can-Do strings and rare screens. If you look closely at the garbage cans in the FFPS rare screens, they all have a string tied around their handles. This is most obvious in Molten Freddy's rare screen. This means Scott reused Mr. Can-Do's model for the garbage cans and removed the balloon, but not the strings. 5 Bear. Bear 5, or 5 Bear, is a parody version of Freddy Fazbear cropped from an edited image of the thank you image from scottgames.com. He's weirdly cropped, holding a knife, and blue for some reason, and the image was originally posted on Twitter by a user by the name of Sonar Sponge, and Bear 5 appears in a Roblox game called Nico's Next Bots. In the game, the player is chased by pictures and GIFs of characters with the objective being to survive as long as possible. Nightmare Fredbear clips through the closet floor. This entry refers to the fact that in FNAF 4, when Nightmare Fredbear is terrorizing you and chooses the closet as his hiding spot, you can go to the closet and shine your light on him, noticing that he's clipping through the floor. His head is still attached to his body, and it's like he was traveling through the basement and thought this would be a good place to pop up. Scott Cawthon apparently didn't want to cut his head off just to put it in the closet, so he used the entire model. Glamrock Chica's old guitar. Glamrock Chica, much like Bonnie, used to have a different guitar. I believe they changed it for the same reason they changed Bonnie's guitar, copyright reasons. Nonetheless, while the old version was an oddly shaped guitar with blue stripes, Chica's new guitar is a star shape with blue lining. I personally think the new version looks way better. Phantom Marionette's teeth. In FNAF World, Phantom Marionette has teeth. Why? It looks so weird. Many explanations have been put forward for this, with none of them satisfying. Explanations such as, he takes dental hygiene seriously, and to clip your fingernails with, to, he needs them to chew. In reality, he probably has teeth because he'd look weird without them. Project 87. This is a project being led by Anthrobotics that aims to create 17 real-life functioning FNAF animatronics. Here's their description on YouTube. Project 87 is a project dedicated to creating real-life versions of the animatronics of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. These robots will be able to walk, talk, and interact with people, and we have very high expectations of their quality. We at Project 87 are a branch of the robotics startup company Anthrobotics. You can visit the Anthrobotics website at anthrobotics.ca. Project 87 is a non-profit and is run 100% off donations from the community. All money donated goes directly to funding the creation of the robots. We have no connection to Scott Cawthon, and we have no plans on using these robots to make a profit. They're actually making great progress every month and have one of the core mechanisms for the leg done, and I don't know whether or not to look forward to the completion of the project. Recycled pizza and security breach. There's a message in security breach that reads, "Customer complaint. The pizza we ordered was weird. Some pieces were different sizes or didn't fit together. One slice even had different toppings. Did you recycle the old pizza from the trash? I am never coming back here unless I'm given some sort of major discount. Angry Mom." Size inconsistencies in the thank you teaser. This entry refers to the blatant size differences between the animatronics in the thank you teaser posted at scottgames.com. Why is the puppet so freaking huge? Why is Golden Freddy massive? Why is Plushtrap... Okay, Plushtrap is the appropriate size, but the Freddy mask in the background is huge. The cupcake is a camera. This entry refers to a Reddit post on the Game Theorist subreddit by Booski, in which they say, it's rumored that the cupcake within the office may be a camera. The evidence for this can be that the monitors on the office desk seem to change on and broadcast any attack on Mike Schmidt. However, this is often easily proven false, as seen in gameplay. The monitors clearly show something from inside the area, and if you look, each monitor shows a special angle. If the cupcake really were a camera, they might show the identical angle, but they do not. In fact, they show angles impossible for the cupcake to determine from its position facing forward on the opposite side of the space from Foxy. This means that the monitors simply reflect the attack instead of displaying it. However, why they do not reflect anything until an attack happens is unknown. Chef Boyardee canned food is all stored here, dev text. This is a bit of internal development text that states, freezer room. Chef Boyardee canned food is all stored here. Most of the food is stored in boxes. Probably should have used more boxes than cans for the white box. Maybe this was a bit of text that would pop up when you go to the freezer room. I'm not really sure what else it could be referring to or what purpose it would have served. BB is a hallucination. BB is the only non-Easter egg animatronic in FNAF 2 who isn't acknowledged by Phone Guy, which some people way back in the day took as a hint that he was just a figment of Jeremy or Fritz's imagination. Costumed entertainer and cute woodland creature. Before Sister Location was released, the feedback from the voice actors would often appear on voices.com, but with characters' names changed as to not spoil too much. Funtime Freddy was listed as costumed entertainer, while Bonbon was listed as cute woodland creature. Freddy under table. In FNAF 2, the sprite of Toy Freddy in your office is internally named Freddy under table, which implies that he was originally supposed to hide under the desk. Mangle's sprite named He Was Here. This in truth refers to the fact that in the FNAF 2 game files, the 8-bit Mangle sprite was named He Was Here. This is presumably from the Save Them minigame in FNAF 2. Mini-Renas spell out baby. In this image of Ballora with her mini-Renas, which are super creepy by the way, there is some speculation that the shapes they're making with their bodies spell out baby in reference to Circus Baby. I don't know why this would be the case, but if it's intentional, it's pretty cool. Skittles referencing FNAF. The Skittles Twitter account is well known for being cringe, and on February 17th, 2022, they tweeted, "Uh-oh, Michael Apton is trending." And later last year, they tweeted, "I'm sorry to interrupt you, Skittles, if you even remember that name." Both clear references to FNAF. Sister Location character names leaked via trademarks. When Scott Cawthon copyrighted the names of the animatronics for Sister Location, he used a website of the US Copyright Office, which is public record. So, someone searched his name and found out that he had copyrighted the names of the Sister Location animatronics, and this is how they found out their names before the game was released. Toys vs. Withered. Before FNAF 2 was released, it was theorized that the toy animatronics would help the player by fighting the Withered animatronics. Part of the evidence for this was Mangle's design, as its damage could have easily been caused by the other animatronics' attacks, but this is not the case. Welcome to Saul's debug mode. This is a bit of unused code from Help Wanted. It reads, "Welcome to Saul's debug mode." This is probably referring to when the developers were debugging the game, and presumably Saul was the lead developer or something. Nightmare Foxy in hallway. This is a Reddit post on the Five Nights at Freddy's subreddit by user FuntimeCat. It shows what Nightmare Foxy would have looked like if he acted like the other animatronics, moving through the hallways to approach the door instead of going straight to the closet. Scott has commented on r/FNAF cringe. Scott Cawthon is a member of r/FNAF cringe on Reddit, and at one point 7 years ago, at the time of recording, he made a post in response to someone questioning whether or not he once endorsed people unaliving themselves. And he commented the word sigh and linked to a post on Steam where he explained fake accounts. He obviously never endorsed this, and it was a fake account on YouTube pretending to be him. Ferb the Fish. This is a fan-made animatronic by the user JMiraculous on Reddit. He posted this image of Ferb on Imager when he was 14 or 15 and later posted this updated version on Reddit on the Five Nights at Freddy's subreddit. The original description of Ferb the Fish reads, "Ferb the Fish. He moves around the pizzeria in pipes filled with water, can bypass doors, and has a special door in his pipe that you need to close to stop him. If he appears in your office, he will close your doors, then jam them, and fill your office with water so you'll drown." 40-inch Good Stuff baby plush. This is a plush made by the company Good Stuff. It's 40 inches tall and is ready and willing to stare at you while you sleep and give you nightmares. The quality doesn't look too good, but hey, if you like it, you can order one. The Apton family is an allegory for Scott's childhood family. This is by far the darkest entry on the iceberg and implies that Scott is Michael Afton, with his father being William Afton and brother and sister being the crying child and Elizabeth Afton respectively. The story itself is said to be a true story, with all the events being covered up. Of course, this can't possibly be true. Or can it? Anyway, that's just a theory. A barky theory! And with that, the iceberg is finished. Thanks so much to all of you who have stuck around for the final part, and to all of you who have subscribed. When I started this iceberg, I had no subscribers. And now, like 3 weeks later, I have, let's see, 2,879 subscribers. It's absolutely incredible to have you all here, and I'll keep pumping out content for you to watch. Next, we'll be going over The Legend of Zelda Iceberg, and this one isn't going to be nearly as long as the FNAF one, so don't worry. I'll knock it out in 1 or 2 parts. Alright, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Save time creating content and generate a high-quality clone of your voice with 11 Labs. Change the way you record podcasts, voiceovers, and branded content with the #1 AI-powered voice generating technology. Stop searching for the perfect voice and stop wasting time re-recording take after take. Try 11 Labs for free and start elevating your content today.
I love it.
This is the Five Nights at Freddy's Lost Media Iceberg. There are 6 different tiers ranging from most known to least known, obviously. We have so much FNAF content out right now, both official and fan-made, but it's rare to hear someone talking about all the lost media around both the game and the community. Obviously there are a few videos here and there and maybe a Reddit thread about lost FNAF media, but no one has ever compiled this many cases of lost media surrounding FNAF and put it all in one place. So that's what I'm doing today. All of the entries are color coordinated and marked to make it easier to understand. Entries that are green are lost media that has since been found. Orange means lost media that has been partially recovered. Red means that it's completely lost media with no official trace of it being found. And gray means the existence of it is unconfirmed. Basically, it might not even exist. The brown OM means it's official FNAF media created by Scott or a licensed company. And the green FM means it's unofficial or fan-made media relating to the FNAF franchise. With all that out of the way, no need to waste your time. I hope you enjoy. LEGO FNAF was a remake of the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, but in Legos, obviously. This game added a ton of different features like a weekly challenges system, lives, and a shop where you can buy plushies, other cosmetics, and items to help you survive. They even made it to where you had to own the game on Steam to even be able to play it, just to make sure it wouldn't be taken down by Scott. After the release of the first game in around June of 2022, the amount of praise and attention that it got was so widespread that the team behind it did the only logical thing and announced LEGO remakes of the second and third game, all with trailers which are still available on YouTube. They are just remakes of the original game trailers but in LEGO, but it's still cool to see, and there are a ton of jokes and secrets in them, along with just generally being incredibly well made. Sadly though, on December 12, 2022, 6 months after the release of the first game, the development team behind LEGO FNAF received a DMCA takedown request from LEGO themselves, effectively killing the game right then and there. Because of the DMCA takedown, the original game was taken off GameJolt and the second and third games were left unfinished. It's sad to see that the series had to end like this, and I wish it was possible for these games to still be made, but unfortunately that's probably never gonna happen. The first LEGO FNAF is still available online, but for the second and third, there are only a few screenshots and videos uploaded to the LEGO FNAF YouTube channel, which are pretty interesting to look at, and it's cool to see what the games would have been if they had actually finished development. At @real_Scothin was Scott Cawthon's original Twitter account. Though he never used it and only had one post on the account, it was suspended in April 2022 for unknown reasons. Some people believe that it was due to the controversy of Scott's political donations, but considering this was almost a year later, I'm not convinced, but it's still possible. The more plausible thing, and what I believe, is for whatever reason Scott's account was spam reported, and just like all other social media platforms, they just deleted his without checking. As for lost media, there are many Wayback Machine saves of his account, so the contents of it weren't left lost for long. And considering the only thing on it was a teaser for the Warner Bros. FNAF movie from all the way back in 2015, it wasn't a whole lot. It's crazy to think they had a movie planned for 8 entire years. Sandbox Security Breach is a version of Security Breach that was supposed to be how the game turned out, but because of the scale, last-minute changes with development, and many other setbacks, this obviously wasn't the version of Security Breach we're left with today. This all comes from a Reddit post by someone who is very much so involved with the Security Breach community and who has gone through what I can assume to be all of the game's assets. I'll try to summarize the important bits, but the original post containing a load more information will be linked in the iceberg. Also to preface, I never finished Security Breach, so pardon me if I get some things wrong, but for the most part, I'm going to be summarizing the post. The gist is, the Security Breach that was released is far more story-based than it is gameplay, and the version that was originally planned out had a ton more gameplay features, including 6-hour nights that were just cut out for one reason or another. In the gameplay trailer, you could see, when looking at the Baz Watch, that it would actually keep track of the time like it would in other FNAF games. This doesn't seem to be seen anywhere else due to the version we have now being almost entirely scripted. Another remnant of these 6-hour nights were some of the voice lines that would play over the intercom. Specifically there being a couple referring to, say, 15 minutes to the hour, followed by an announcement, I guess, to the animatronics to return back to their recharge terminals. To back this up, there's an instructional card which states that you can only recharge Freddy at the end of the hour, which just straight up isn't true. There's also an unused Vanny meter that was meant to be in the game, which would increase upon idling as a way to stop people from just sitting around and waiting for the night to be over. If the meter filled all the way up, Vanessa, who would be patrolling the map, would run over to a large bathroom to which she would become Vanny. If you've ever gotten this glitch when dying at 6 AM, that is also a leftover asset from this cut. At the end of each night, you would be given 3 different plans to choose from to continue on. I'll have both plan A and C on the screen right now, but for whatever reason, there was never a breakdown on plan B. But it had something to do with the loading dock. The idea behind this was to give the player free will to play the game however they wanted, and to choose whichever path they felt like going down. There's a lot more to this, and as I said, it's an insanely detailed post, and I just barely scratched the surface. They go over things such as map changes, the animatronics pathfinding, and the reasoning behind why this version of Security Breach was just physically impossible. So I'd recommend checking it out. I'm not even a fan of Security Breach, but this post was really interesting nonetheless.
Nivea Man Black and White 止汗剂，捍卫你的颜色，给您72小时防汗抗异味。抗污渍10倍抗菌及持久现代气息 ，Nivea Man 使您尽显王者风范，72小时防汗抗异味，捍卫你的颜色。Nivea 为肌肤而设。
I'm sure everyone knows about this, so I'm gonna try and make it quick without skipping over anything. FNAF AR was an augmented Pokemon Go type game, except I don't really think you had to go anywhere for it. You could catch animatronics, collect remnants, there's skins too. I'm gonna be honest, I forgot what the f you do in this game. It was initially met with a decent amount of praise upon release, aside from some criticisms of lack of lore, bugs, and microtransactions. People didn't seem to love nor hate the game, but as time went on, Illumix, the company behind it, began changing. They began prioritizing cosmetics over gameplay, adding more and more reskinned animatronics instead of the ones they had been promising since release. One day in December of 2021, they would release their last new character, and for the next 2 entire years, every update would just be a few characters becoming available again for a limited amount of time. Maybe some bug fixes if you're lucky, and that's about it. Until February 2024, when they announced the game would be shutting down, before shutting it down the next day. I wonder why they were in such a rush to shut it down. This one kind of falls in a gray area of lost media. There are archives of different versions of the game, as well as fully playable builds on GameJolt, but technically FNAF AR is lost media. Though this one isn't as known, I thought I might as well put it on here because it's official and a short entry. In October of 2016, FNAF Sister Location was publicly released as version 1.01, therefore making version 1 completely lost. The number change was very insignificant and not even Scott seemed to notice, so I'd imagine there wasn't a whole lot changed. Now this is where it starts to get interesting. As we get deeper, you're going to notice less and less official media entries, and that's because I didn't want to just cram a bunch of lost versions or teasers that are basically just the same thing with the new coat of paint. I only want the best for y'all, so if that's not a reason to subscribe, I don't know what is. Alright, let's keep going. Running in the 80s was a FNAF fan game that released in August of 2020, focused around Fredbear's Family Diner. The game isn't too special, don't get me wrong, from what I've seen, it is incredibly well made. It has some similar mechanics like the doors from the first game and audio luring from the third game, but the gameplay or story isn't what I'm looking at right now. The game was pretty popular. Channels like 8-Bit Gaming, Doco, and even MatPat playing upon release definitely helped boost it quite a bit. There was only one teeny tiny little issue. The game was a virus, specifically an adware Trojan, which, if you're not familiar, a Trojan virus is just any malware disguised as a legitimate software. And adware is any malware that is designed to install itself on your computer and will show ads and pop-ups which can immensely slow down your system. It can also infect existing files on your computer, which make it a real pain to get rid of, and sometimes requires you to completely reinstall your operating system. According to a thread on Reddit, it wasn't intentionally put into the game. The developer must have had some virus on his system which infected the game files before they published it. For that reason, the game was removed from GameJolt, and not too long after, a re-upload of it, assumedly without the malware, was posted by another user, to which that would also get removed from GameJolt for unknown reasons. There is a version of the game without the virus up on GameJolt. I guess you could technically say the version with the virus is lost media, but shut up, because I'm sure no one wants to play a game with malware in it. Before the release of Five Nights at Freddy's, Scott Cawthon organized a Kickstarter to raise money for the development of the game. This included different incentives to donate, such as wallpapers, an early access version of the game, and the ability to become a beta tester for the game. When researching this entry, I found something out that I haven't really heard anyone talk about. If you click on the creator of the Kickstarter, that being Scott, you can see his Kickstarter account was created back in June of 2014. But if you look at the game's fundraiser, it was canceled June 17th, meaning at most, the fundraiser was up for 2 weeks as opposed to the month that it was planned. Just kidding, it was up for 3 days. For less than 72 hours was funding for this game available. I don't know why no one has talked about this before. I've found a grand total of 2 Reddit comments mention this, while I've heard countless videos reference this as some sort of struggle Scott needed to overcome. But it seemed like he didn't actually need it, as the game would launch less than 2 months later. Yapping aside, the wallpaper pack was an incentive for donating, which you would receive for donating $10 or more to the fundraiser. I know a lot of people see this as lost media, but I have it gray for a reason, and the yap session I had a moment ago is why. It just doesn't make sense to me that Scott would put all that effort into some wallpapers for a Kickstarter, only to abandon it within 3 days. The reason for the Kickstarter was to pay for the cost of living while he developed the game so he could work on it full time. Considering he worked on these games alone, I don't think there was much money he needed to spend on development. I've heard a lot of people refer to the wallpapers as lost media, but I personally have a hard time believing they were even made in the first place. FNAF World Mobile was made available on Android devices on January 12, 2017, and subsequently removed from the App Store the following day with seemingly absolutely no statement by Scott whatsoever, though the countless bugs and interesting development choices can give us an idea of what happened. There wasn't a whole lot changed about the game when porting it over to mobile, but the changes that were made were some pretty interesting ones, namely the dialogue you get from Fredbear. Instead of normal dialogue like he has on the PC version, he greets you by saying, "Welcome back to FNAF World," the game that almost single-handedly destroyed the FNAF franchise, which when compared to the original game's dialogue is nothing like it. The craziest part is, this keeps on going. The entire main objective is to use the chump stick given to you by Fredbear to beat that fool upside the head. Even Fredbear has some insane dialogue, with some real bangers like, "So one time, I mailed myself in a box to my grandmother looking like this. I jumped out and was like, ooh, yeah, rip." There are many other differences like bugs with animations, some scenes being changed, others completely removed. There's so much to talk about, and I don't want to just paraphrase the whole thing, so go check out the Dapper Waffles video on the FNAF mobile port. Aside from the information, this video was just really entertaining, so go check it out. It turns out that this whole game was supposed to be a troll, with Scott even referencing the people who were begging him to make one in his announcement, as well as even stating that the game would be taken down in a few hours after it was released and to go get it while you can. Though in the same post he mentioned that he would take his time to make it compatible for other devices, which obviously never happened. There are ports of FNAF World online that are relatively easy to find, as long as you know how to read and aren't just randomly clicking links. Obviously, that means it's been found. The story behind it though is insane.
Want to create an online store but not sure what to do next? With managed WooCommerce hosting from Hostinger, you can skip the complex setup process and get straight to business. It's e-commerce hosting, but with more. Quickly and easily fill your site with search-friendly content and bespoke product descriptions written by our AI content creator. Increase sales and turn visitors into customers thanks to lightning-quick page loading speeds. Plus, there's plenty of room to grow whether you've got one product, hundreds, or thousands. With a 99.9% uptime guarantee, you can relax knowing your store will be serving customers for you 24 hours a day. And it will be protected by the latest security tools, automatic backups, and updates. Try it in complete confidence with our 30-day money-back guarantee. And if you ever need help, our expert support is available 24/7, trusted by millions of website owners worldwide. Go to hostinger.com/e-commerce to get started. Hostinger, 3, 2, online.
Five Nights is the name of a deleted video on Scott Cawthon's official YouTube channel, which was discovered due to Wayback Machine archives of Scott's Google Plus account. On this Google Plus account, 3 different private videos were discovered. One titled Five Nights at Freddy's, which is the same name as the official trailer that is still posted. Another titled Five Nights at Freddy's Gameplay, which again is the title of another video that is still posted on Scott's account. The final video, and the one that spawned a ton of speculation, was titled Five Nights. The video was speculated to either be a lost early version of the FNAF 1 trailer we have now, or another early gameplay video like the one that's posted to Scott's channel now. The reason people were so keen on it being a different trailer was due to the very first comment on the trailer by Walmy, reading, "I think this is an interesting angle for a horror game to take. I can sort of see why you changed the eyes from the last video, but I wouldn't hold too much stock in people who want to see spikes and daggers and blood and skulls and all that garbage just because the animatronics aren't scary enough." The mention of a last video was enough for people to begin looking endlessly for this video. And the video that people believed to be the previous trailer Walmy was talking about was the aforementioned Five Nights. Though in 2020, someone on Twitter would reach out to Walmy and ask him what he meant by their comment and if he remembered anything about the previous video he had mentioned in his comment. They surprisingly would respond, confirming there was a previous video in which there was a scarier design for the endoskeletons that isn't on Scott's channel anymore. Sadly, the same day, they would follow up that comment saying that they were mistaken when making the first comment and they were actually recalling the trailer that is up now. Considering some of the things said by them, this honestly doesn't convince me there wasn't at least an earlier upload or version of this trailer that they had seen. Though an argument can be made that since the now deleted video was uploaded a day before the official trailer was released, that it has to be the same. But considering Scott was able to make a second game on top of a trailer for it and teasers in literally 2 months, I think it was possible that some changes were made to the trailer before the upload, though we have no idea what these changes could have been. To this day, nobody has any idea what the video is or if it is any different to the ones that are uploaded to Scott's page today. A quick update, I know this entry is already pretty long, but when looking through videos for other entries, I found a comment made by Walmy in 2020 saying that there was actually a different trailer, one that isn't the same as the one we have now, but as I suspected, there wasn't a lot changed. The only change that was mentioned, same as the comment, was the eyes from the endoskeleton once Bonnie takes off his mask. The eyes were said to be normal eyes like the ones seen in the teaser image, instead of the red dots that are in the trailer now. Also known as just Stingray with some Arabic text at the end. This was supposedly a free version of FNAF 2 that was available on Android devices on the website Aptoid. The reason this is so popular is because in the recent years of the FNAF community, FNAF ransomware has become a trope for fan media, and this one was supposedly made all the way back in 2014 when the games had just begun coming out. There are tons of myths and misinformation about this game, such as an eyeless withered Chica jump scare, and it playing a voice from your speaker telling you that you've been hacked,
and I'm sorry, but if you're over the age of 14, you'd know that this definitely isn't the case. At least none of this has ever been confirmed. I'm personally not going to download and find out for myself, but it's more than likely just to be malware disguised as FNAF 2. Someone actually found the original downloaded and uploaded it to VirusTotal, which revealed exactly what it would have done to your device, which was lock the screen and apparently uninstall the device. So yeah, I've seen people online say they had downloaded it and it completely destroyed their device or wiped all of their files, so I don't doubt that at all, though the stories of creepy shit happening are most likely fake. FNAF Plus was a now cancelled officially licensed remake of the original FNAF game, being made by the developer Fiznom as a part of the Fazbear Fanverse initiative. I'm sure you all know what that is, so I'm not going to go too in depth into it. It's basically just a partnership between Scott Cawthon and a bunch of different fan game creators, basically to fund and officially distribute their games along with providing merchandise opportunities and mobile/console ports for their games. Now that's out of the way, we're not actually going to be talking about FNAF Plus, but rather the FNAF Plus VHS tapes that are teasers for the actual game. These are infamous for both the extreme amount of effort that it seems was put into them, as well as how these are some of the earliest FNAF analog horror videos, which most likely inspired some of the more popular ones that are circulating today. Obviously, since this isn't a FNAF Lost Media iceberg, something happened to them. The creator of the video started a stream in July of 2023 where he would play through and give his opinions on the newly released Ruin DLC for FNAF Security Breach. If you know the story, you know where I'm going with this. He had many criticisms of the game, which, to be fair, is more than fine, but the issue people had with this was the seemingly unnecessary harshness in complaints towards the game, while at the same time being a part of the previously mentioned Fanverse initiative. After the stream, Phil would tweet out, "Well, that was boring," and under the tweet, people would also give their opinions on both the Ruin DLC and the stream that he had done. One particular tweet started the downfall of both Fiznom and FNAF Plus as a whole. A user jokingly replied, "Can we tweet this after FNAF Plus comes out? It's only fair." To which a select few delusional fans would go out and send death threats and even gore videos to this person. After learning of this, instead of making a serious statement, Phil would post several tweets saying to send him death threats and gore instead, along with a quote-unquote apology dog that instead linked to a FNAF Rickroll. Later, the user who was being sent these awful things would try and reach out to Phil with seemingly no response. He would then make a tweet about it which Phil would actually see, though all he did was apparently like the tweet and block the account right after. Since then, the only serious statement made was one that reads, "Jokes aside, sending people gore and death threats is completely unexcusable behavior, and I don't support this at all. I don't consider anyone that would do this to be a fan of me." Not long after, on August 3rd, Fiznom would be removed from the credits of FNAF Plus' Steam page, pretty much marking the end of both the game and his position in the Fanverse initiative, though it's still unknown if Phil left himself or if he was removed by Scott, though it seems more reasonable to believe that he did it on his own will. Following all of that, and Phil's departure from the FNAF community as a whole, the FNAF Plus VHS tapes that were used as teasers for the game were all removed from YouTube. Obviously, because of all the hype surrounding the games, these videos weren't lost for long and were uploaded back onto YouTube not long after. The only reason I have the VHS tapes as lost media and not the game as well is because the game never actually had a public release. No alpha, beta versions, no demos, so I don't count that. Okay, that last entry was a lot, but I find specifically drama in the FNAF community to be very interesting, so I try to include as many relevant details as I could without dragging it on longer than it should, because I know a ton of people already know about the situation. If you don't know, Sparky the dog was a rumored 6th animatronic to be in the original FNAF game and is often credited as the first FNAF hoax. The rumor of this 6th animatronic blew up due to the mysterious nature of the game back then, back when no one knew what was going on. The very convincing Photoshop showing what Sparky the dog looked like was sure to fool most people in the FNAF community back then. Since the beginning of FNAF all the way until now, Sparky is still a pretty prevalent character whether or not it's official, though I'd like to mention that a dog animatronic suit was seen in the FNAF movie, so you never know. But what I want to talk about is the very first mention of Sparky all the way back in 2014, all the way back to the first ever post mentioning Sparky the dog on the very magical website known as Tumblr. Not much seems to be known about the original post. Some things that I think are pretty interesting is that the image was made a decent bit after the hoax was created, and back in 2020, the creator of the original hoax made a post on Reddit to answer a bunch of questions about it. Unfortunately, it didn't reveal a whole lot about the original post. The only thing I know from digging around is that it had to have been made in mid to late August, because the first post I saw to talk about it was posted in September 5th of 2014 by the creator of the hoax telling everyone that it was fake. That early post about Sparky detailed how in-depth this hoax was. Before the infamous Sparky image in the parts and service room, the original creator of the hoax had made up rumors that the screen would turn black if you tried to screenshot him. There was a post about how to summon Sparky. There were actually 3, must have been some COD Zombies-ass code to summon him, and a post about his game mechanic that was said to have been clever and included Sparks shooting from his assumedly broken arm from time to time. Aside from that, I haven't found any other hints to what these posts could have been. No videos, no archives, nothing. That leaves this completely lost, but if you have any leads, I would be more than happy to hear about them in the comments, because this is one I personally find pretty interesting.
Order food you love with Food Panda. Download the app and order now.
Food Panda?
Work today is broken. We're all working in too many disconnected apps, and it's killing team productivity. But for the first time, there's a platform that fixes it by combining everything you need. Projects, chat, and knowledge in one place. It's all powered by the world's most complete work AI, so you can find answers from anywhere and get work done faster. Introducing ClickUp, the everything app for work.
Bonzi Bunny was a Source filmmaker web series back in the day by Nixon. I'm sure some of you recognize that name, but I'll get back to him in a moment. This was a series of shitpost videos depicting Bonnie or Bonzi terrorizing the night guard nicknamed Extend Dawn and saying some ridiculous shit. It's about the same humor you'd see in games like Day Shift at Freddy's or Five Nights at Fuckboys, so pretty on par for the time it was released, that being around 2015. Now, I briefly mentioned the creator of this series, Nixon, and if you're a part of the FNAF community at all, you know he's the creator of many different well-made and well-liked fan games and fan series or however you say that. Those Nights at Fredbear's, Those Nights at Rachel's, and his most popular, The Joy of Creation. It's crazy to think 9 years ago he was making these goofy Source filmmaker shitposts alongside some decently well-made games from time to time, to now being a part of the Fanverse initiative and creating some pretty insane looking things even for today's standards. When doing my initial research, I had found a playlist of these videos by Nixon himself, meaning these videos were not deleted, just unlisted. Fortunately, there were re-uploads of this series by many people online, including compilations and reactions to it, so it was never lost for long. On May 19th, 2024, YouTuber Bizzo, my bad if I said that wrong, uploaded a video detailing her discovery of 2 lost songs originating from the minigames in FNAF 3. Those songs being the ones used in Mangle's Quest and Chica's Party. Though in her original video about these lost songs, finding them seemed to be a pretty dead end, coming up with no matches from her searches, receiving no responses from the people she contacted, and the only leads coming from the depths of YouTube comments. 6 months later though, she posted another video surrounding the search, where she stated that only 3 days after the original upload, a user by the name of Meeps Wonder had actually found the original song, being titled The Fox Hunter's Gallop by Marion, though the origins of Chica's Party music has yet to be found. In this follow-up video, multiple different websites with the song listed were brought to light, many of those sites listing the song with the name Fairy Dance. This is all the information we have so far. Obviously, I left out a few minor details, so if this is interesting to you at all, I would recommend checking out our video on it below, but to this day, one song is now found media, while the other one is almost completely lost. This title is pretty self-explanatory. Fun Times at Homer's is a decently popular FNAF fan game centered around, obviously, The Simpsons. Though the game doesn't look bad at all, dare I say, I enjoy the style and how they were trying to replicate the style of older Simpsons episodes. That's not what I'm here to talk about, unfortunately. Before the release of Fun Times at Homer's 3, a teaser by the developer of the game was posted at Game Jolt containing something along the lines of "dang N-word." A couple months later, people started mass reporting it, to which the page of the creator was taken down. In response to this, I'm just gonna sum it up, he admits to doing so and says that people had no issue with it for months, and the people who had reported it and taken it down were quote-unquote spreading it without context and possibly jealous. So a bit interesting, but there's more. A user on Game Jolt responded to this saying, "I don't think you should be saying the N-word, even if it's a joke." To which the creator replied again, "I just casually said it since I felt we weren't on Twitter and people wouldn't go crazy over it. So it's not even a joke use of it, it's just a scenario where I get dirt on me because people who try to cancel me once a month can't stand someone who aren't as miserable as they are." Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's because they're miserable people. It might be the casual use and admission of using the N-word, and I'm not sure what context would make this better, though I obviously don't have the original teaser image. For now, the N-word in Fun Times at Homer's 3 teaser is completely lost, though this is one of the ones I have more hope for coming up, depending on if people even care enough to find this. Moral of the story, if you're not black, fucking don't say the N-word. I don't know. We are just over halfway through now, and if you're still watching, thank you. It absolutely means the world to me. And if you want to see more videos like this, or just FNAF related content in general, you can always turn on notifications. I'm always working on videos. Here's a little hint at what the next one is, just because you made it this far. Now let's keep going. Five Night at Freddy's Setties is a video that was posted to YouTube by the user FDT. This video is the very first FNAF ransomware video to surface online. And if you've been around the FNAF community in the past year, you know how big the ransomware genre is, especially in FNAF. When this video was uploaded, it was taken down shortly after by YouTube themselves for an unknown reason. Though it wasn't lost for very long, as the original uploader would upload the video to archive.org, as well as a video to YouTube announcing so, in a very parody-ish style. This is mainly on the list because I think it's interesting how a video that influenced an entire genre on FNAF videos was just simply wiped off the platform by YouTube for seemingly no reason. And if the creator of the video didn't come out and post it himself, it's possible that this video would still be lost. Though thankfully we do have this video, and it's about what you'd expect from a FNAF ransomware video. In 2015, someone known as Lizada Pelotti uploaded a game to the Apple App Store called Five Nights at Freddy's 4. It had the same description as FNAF 3 did, and tons of positive reviews, those probably being from bots. Considering this was released well before the actual FNAF 4 was, obviously it wasn't the same FNAF 4 we know now. The game used fan art of the original FNAF cover, and one of the preview images showed the sniper from Team Fortress 2 inside the FNAF 1 office, though it only gets weirder from there. Upon downloading the game and opening it, the loading screen would be an upside-down version of one of the FNAF 2 teasers, and the title screen showed some sort of FNAF My Little Pony crossover. Very excited to see what this game's about. Upon pressing play, they would give you a set of seemingly random questions to answer, a lot of them making no sense, both the questions and the answers. Supposedly though, pressing anything but yes won't actually do anything. After these questions, the screen says, "How about a sword game? Ask," before sending you to a 2D side-scrolling platformer game with some vague FNAF theming. I'd imagine if ChatGPT had no idea FNAF was a horror game and you asked it to make a sequel to FNAF, this is probably what you get. Afterwards, the game would crash and send you back to the home screen. Other than that, there is no information on this game, no download links, nothing. So I'd say that qualifies as lost media. Fazbear's Collection 2 was a FNAF VHS video uploaded on January 31st, 2021 by a user named 12man_OP. The same day it was released, it was taken down off YouTube following the whole Squimpus McGrimpus drama that happened. I'm not going to go over that, but TLDR, minors. But in the midst of this, Fazbear's Collection 2 was found to have an actual photo of a dead animal in the video around the 32-minute mark. For a short amount of time, a censored version of this video would be re-uploaded to his channel, though the very next day, his entire channel would be taken down. It wasn't by YouTube though, it was by his brother apparently. From this point on, I can't verify how accurate the story is, so keep that in mind. Apparently, his brother took down his YouTube channel following even more controversy, this time inside of his Discord server, where once again his brother was on his account and apparently began to spread rumors that 12man or Oscar had a schizophrenic episode the night before and had attempted to kill himself, to which he was taken to the hospital and pronounced dead. Thankfully, that wasn't the case, as Oscar himself returned and posted a video debunking the rumors, saying all he wanted to do was take a short break and had let his brother have access to his accounts. Another thing mentioned in the video was that Fazbear's Collection 2 would never be released publicly again. Since then, many people have gone on the hunt for this lost video, but seemingly no one has been able to come up with anything. It's quite strange that a video that had so much controversy spawned because of it can just disappear and never be seen again. This is another case in which I have the most faith that can be found. It's only a matter of when and where. For now, the video is completely lost and all we have is the remnants of the controversy it had left behind. In 2015, with the release of FNAF 4, also came the announcement of a free Halloween edition of FNAF 4 for those who purchased the game. Though it seemed like Scott hadn't done DLCs for his game before and wasn't sure if it would be able to work on Steam, to which he announced that if it didn't work on Steam, he would release it completely for free on GameJolt. Following this announcement, he accidentally published the GameJolt page in full, basically leaking the Halloween update as well as a complete version of FNAF 4 absolutely free. Obviously, it was taken down very quick after, but word seemingly spread. Not very loud though, as the version uploaded to GameJolt hasn't been archived at all, and the only remaining piece of this is a screenshot of the GameJolt page and the header that was used for it. It's unclear if the version uploaded was any different from the one on Steam, but still, this one isn't the biggest find, but the fact that Scott accidentally leaked the Halloween edition of FNAF 4 is just kind of funny to me.
Want to make cute animals talk? Create a video like this with Animaker. Over 50 AI animal images for you to pick from. Generate funny animal videos with just one click.
Supports over 50 languages and 400 voices. Affordable 400 voices.
Natural and accurate lip sync makes videos more realistic.
Animaker simplifies video editing with AI.
KFC Nasi Jimat Padu. Serendah RM7.99.
Last tier wasn't the longest one, but it still had some interesting cases. I'd say around here is where the cases start to get a lot more interesting, to me personally, so let's keep going. Creepypasta Castle was a mod for the original FNAF game made back in late 2014, less than 2 months after the game was released. The reason this game is so well known because it is seemingly the very first FNAF fan game released publicly. This game isn't really anything to write home about. At its core, it's a stripped down and reskinned version of FNAF with some wonky controls, many bugs, and classic creepypasta characters to replace the animatronics. Those characters being Pinkie Pie, who replaces Bonnie, Ben Drowned, who replaces Chica, Sonic EXE, who replaces Bonnie, and Tails Doll, who replaces Freddy. Some interesting things to note about this game is that each hour only lasts 20 seconds, meaning a whole night is only 2 minutes long. Another thing is that the power starts at 0 and counts down into the negatives 1 each second. The thing is, with 100% power, you can only make it up to 4 AM if you do absolutely nothing. Meaning even the first FNAF fan game was impossible. Pretty on par for a lot of the fan games today as well. Though only 2 months after the initial release, a full version of the game would come out, fixing the power and adding all 7 nights. Though they were all as different files for some reason. Though the power was better, it was still impossible. The first night was just barely beatable, and the second night was just flat out impossible. And that is about all the information we have on this game. The first version of this game has surfaced online sometime in 2024, but the full version of the game is completely lost. It's sad to see because I'm honestly curious if anyone would be able to beat the game, as I'm sure there are some bugs that can allow you to do so. Hopefully this one is found. It would be nice to be able to play the oldest FNAF fan game in its entirety, but until then, it's only partially lost. Bird Village was a series of animated short films created by Scott Cawthon between 1999 and 2002. They followed around a group of birds named Beak, Seabill, Stork, and Camo as they went on their wacky adventures. Who knew Scott was coming up with such groundbreaking ideas even back then? I'm not gonna dog on this guy too hard. He was only 21 at the time and didn't have even a fraction of the resources we have today. There's next to no info on these shorts, as they didn't seem to make it very far outside of where Scott lived and the company that he had been working with. Because of that, there are only 2 tapes and 5 segments of these shorts that have been discovered, though it's possible that there are more. Until late 2020, the only footage we had of these shorts were as a bonus feature on another one of Scott's early animation projects called Return to Mush Snail. In November of 2020 though, a user named King Wizard found out that he had actually owned one of the 2 tapes and uploaded the 3 episodes it contained onto YouTube. Around 3 years later, in March of 2024, a user by the name of Philly Brave got into contact with David Hutter, a film director that Scott had worked with throughout the years on films, but through him he was able to retrieve the other known VHS tape which contained another missing episode along with the full movie. There is a known sequel to the movie called Bird Village Second Nest that is only known because Scott had it listed as one of his sample works on his website. At this point in time, there are only 5 confirmed segments and 4 that have been found. I haven't watched any of the segments because I'm not sure how much information I could gather watching an hour and a half of birds being wacky and getting into shenanigans, but if you'd like to let me know, definitely leave a comment. For now, the Bird Village series is only partially lost. Around 2016, a channel by the name of Ponage McGee would upload a series of videos titled 11 Drunk Guys Play FNAF. These videos were about what you'd expect, yelling at each other over FNAF. This channel had made other videos in this style with other games to what seems like mild success, so they posted a total of 8 videos of them just playing the different Five Nights at Freddy's games. For whatever reason though, one day they just happened to vanish off YouTube, and since then, many of the videos have been lost. A user on Reddit sometime in 2024 had posted to the Lost Media subreddit asking if anyone had any of these videos archived or if they could somehow recover them. Miraculously, not long after the thread was posted, a user in the comments would drop a Google Drive link containing 5 of the 8 known videos, 3 parts from FNAF 1, 2 parts from FNAF 2. As for the other 3 videos, we have no information on what they could be.
This is me from the future, but on June 26th of 2024, a user I'm not going to try and pronounce posted every single 11 Drunk Guys Play video in the series, including all 8 of the FNAF videos. So yeah, this isn't lost anymore. I was lying to you the whole time.
But someone in the comments of the thread suggested that the reason they were taken down is because one of the drunk guys who were white said the N-word during one of these videos. So moral of the story part 2, if you aren't black, maybe don't say the N-word. Five Nights at Vegas was a FNAF fan game that began development in 2016, and prior to the game's expected release, a trailer for the game would be released. Ultimately, this trailer would be the very downfall of this game. There's next to nothing known or saved about this trailer. The only thing that people remember this trailer for is this very line, the jazz era. It was fun, wasn't it? Casinos were created, they were the cause of new stars, and the addiction of gambling too, and drug addictions that led to... Yeah, I really don't know what to say. For a brief while, this trailer and specifically that line people would reference on and off in the subreddit. Regardless of how outlandish whatever that was, this trailer still has yet to be found, and the only proof of it that we have are accounts from those who had seen the trailer, now deleted posts that feature the trailer, and one single screenshot of a puppet-looking figure that was supposedly hidden at the end of the trailer. I know assault isn't a very funny thing, and the use of this line was probably why the trailer was taken down. Here we are, at the final tier. This is where some of the most interesting and obscure pieces of lost media surrounding the FNAF series and community can be found. If you've been enjoying so far, please subscribe. I'm always working on new videos for you, and it's an easy way to show your support and be notified of the next upload. Without further ado, Tier 6, the final tier. If you don't know who Teddy Bear 87 or Zombie Wars SMT are, don't worry, cause I have next to no fucking clue either. I can't find Teddy Bear 87's channel anymore, but to summarize to the best of my ability, they were both decently prominent creators around the release and initial blow up of FNAF, making the type of videos you'd expect from FNAF YouTubers 10 years ago. Gameplay videos, theories, family music, pretty much anything. They apparently used footage of the game by Teddy Bear 87 without their permission, which Teddy Bear 87 was very vocally upset about, regardless of the fact that credit was given. They would send fans of theirs to harass Zombie Wars by spreading fake rumors and making multiple alt accounts to stalk and harass them. Unfortunately, that is really all the details I have about this situation. There aren't any screenshots that I can find about this specific instance besides this one of a false copyright strike that Teddy Bear 87 sent to Zombie Wars. Other than that, I would consider this on the verge of lost and partially found, though I think lost would be a more fitting place. This entry stems from a Reddit post that I had seen, but upon coming back to it to write this video, it was almost entirely gone. Thankfully, there is a Wayback Machine capture of what the Reddit post said. I'll give you a quick summary. The user was looking back at some old comics for nostalgia and decided to look for one in specific that they had remembered quite vividly. It was an idea of how the animatronics became withered, and some of the key details that they had mentioned were Freddy becoming depressed because he couldn't find the killer, and through a series of events, he ended up ripping off Bonnie's face while Chica tried to stop him, which is also how she got her damage. Some other details were that the comic was fairly well drawn and that they had originally seen it from a YouTube video that was nothing more than a slideshow of the pages with some sad music over it. Someone commented under the post suggesting that it could be the comic titled Out With The Old. Though skimming through this comic, I could see that there are some pretty big similarities that could lead to someone into thinking this is the comic they were thinking of. Obviously, it has the staple animatronics beating each other, turning them into the withered animatronics. But there was also some big details that didn't quite match up, such as Freddy getting depressed over not being being able to find the killer. Then when the story Freddy and Toy Freddy are talking about the murders, it turns into more of a heated conversation between them than a sad one. And it isn't Freddy that rips off Bonnie's face, it's Toy Chica. These differences put me on the fence on whether it is the comment that the poster is talking about or not, but since the post has been taken down and the poster never clarified if it was or not, we still won't ever know. For now, I'm leaving this as lost, though we have potential for what it might be. It is still entirely possible that there is a different comic with similar ideas, just executed in a different way.
Confidence sebenarnya datang dari cara kita take care of diri kita sendiri. Simple je. Start gunakan Nivea Man Black and White deodorant. Nivea Man Black and White Invisible diformulasi dengan Thermal Active Protection yang memberi 72 jam perlindungan. Ia juga anti peluh, anti bau dan anti iritasi pada kulit. Ia juga tak meninggalkan kesan kuning pada baju. You guys tak perlu figure out everything pun in the early stage of life. Korang perlu confident dengan diri sendiri je. Tunggu apa lagi? Grab yours now.
The Tearing was a young adult horror book written by Scott Cawthon under the pseudonym Michael Parsons back in 2013, a year before the release of Five Nights at Freddy's. What makes this so desirable for Lost Media fans is that this was the first known horror project made by Scott prior to FNAF, as well as the synopsis has references to missing and murdered children at an orphanage, a slight resemblance to the story of Five Nights at Freddy's minus the location. For the copyright of The Tearing, you can see that under authorship on application, it says Michael Parsons, pseudonym of Scott Cawthon. Though there aren't any direct links and an image like this could easily be fake, Scott himself, 9 years back, confirmed on a thread about The Tearing that he had written stories and published them under different names, which confirms that this is a real book. As for the book itself, it's completely lost. Would you look at that? We got another update. Since I wrote this video a couple months ago, the book has actually been partially found, uploaded on some random website. On here though, the synopsis gives us some interesting information about the story. The children in the story are not fiction, but are based on the real life children whose lives are literally torn apart each day. The readers come to know these children and suffer with them, confronting the reader with the gruesome reality and horror of abortion. So, yeah. Take that as you will. I just wanted to give an update as now it's partially found. 10 Scary Nights is the second earliest known FNAF fan game, right after Creepypasta Castle, which I mentioned in the tier before. In this game, you have a laptop in front of you where you can monitor any intruders that enter your house. If the intruders enter your house and make their way to you, you can close the door next to you to keep them out. Your goal is to keep them out of your room for 2 minutes until the security system alerts the cops. Now you might be realizing this isn't typically what you'd expect from a FNAF fan game, and you're right. But I think the coincidence in the mechanics and the timing of the release of this game are pretty clear giveaways that this is a FNAF fan game. This game was released sometime before late October, which is quite a bit earlier than some fan games people think are the first, like Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Massacre in November of 2014 and Five Nights at Treasure Island in December of 2014. This game is completely lost. There are only 2 mentions of it on the internet that I have ever been able to find. One being this comment on a Reddit post asking for fan game suggestions, and a video on the channel Little Miss Fairy Tale, which is just a let's play of the game which shows us how the game looks and how the mechanics work. I hope this game gets found one day, but honestly I think there's a less than 0% chance that it ever sees the light of day again with how obscure it is. The only video of the game has under 6,000 views. One can hope though. It would be nice to try it out and see if there was an ending to it. We made it to the end of the iceberg. That was a whole lot to cover, and I honestly had a whole lot of fun researching and writing this video. I want to say thank you to everyone who had liked or commented on the last video. The support on it was insanely overwhelming, and I can't thank you guys enough. I'm gonna keep posting as often as I can. I truly love making these types of videos, and FNAF has been something I've been into since I was a kid. It's honestly a dream to be able to make videos about it and for people to actually care enough to watch them. Even if you're new, thank you so much for watching to the end. I'm sure if you were into this video, you'll be interested in my last video where I completed every night of all 3 One Night at Flumpty's games back to back, without dying a single time. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see y'all later. Bye. With fan games being such a huge part of the FNAF community, many over the years have wondered what the first actual FNAF fan game was. These fan games are spread across the internet with platforms like GameJolt and Scratch letting just about anyone very easily create and release their own regardless of experience or quality. This makes tracing back the very first fan game quite the search, especially in the present day being over 11 years from the release of the first game. Many scraps of these original fan games become quite literally lost to time. With that out of the way, this is where the search begins. If you were to, right here, right now, search into Google or Reddit or whatever what the first Five Nights at Freddy's fan game was, there are countless people and sources over the years who believe that Five Nights at Treasure Island, being released on December 1st, 2014, was the first to come out. To those who somehow don't know, Five Nights at Treasure Island was basically about the same as all the other Five Nights at Blanks games being released by small developers, this being based off the Abandoned by Disney creepypasta. This one is pretty infamous though, as it was one of the very first to not only have some pretty good visuals comparatively, but also the first to stray away from just using lights and doors to defend yourself, this time making you shut off cameras around the building in order to lure enemies away. To give you some reference though, the other most popular legacy fan games everyone remembers, such as Candies, Flumpties, and The Joy of Creation, all were released between early to mid 2015 and 2016. I'm sure most everyone knows about Treasure Island, so I won't get into it too deep. While it was most definitely the very first FNAF fan game to leave a lasting mark on the community, still having countless remakes made to this day, but to little surprise, it is nowhere near the first fan game to be released. To those who dig a little bit deeper, another popular answer would be Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Massacre, which was released quite a while before Treasure Island on November 5th of 2014, meaning it came out less than 2 months after the original FNAF was released. This one is a bit of an interesting case, as instead of it being an actual horror game like the other FNAF fan games are, this one is some sort of first-person shooter puzzle thing. Basically, you spawn in, shoot some Freddies, and boom, you win. Obviously, there's a bit more to it, definitely not a whole lot though, but if you're interested, the YouTuber The Baddest made a whole video about it where they actually get to interview the guy who made the game, which is a very, very rare thing when it comes to these old FNAF fan games. This interview gives us some decent information, such as the reason this game was created in the first place being due to the creator, who was only 13 at the time, not being able to beat FNAF, and out of frustration wanted to shoot Freddy Fazbear with a gun, resulting in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Massacre being created in less than a single day. Wanting to post this for whatever reason, he published the game on GameJolt, which at the same time makes it the very first FNAF fan game to be released on the platform, or so it was believed. While this one was one of the only fan games that predate FNAF 2, it still isn't nearly the first. And while Pizza Massacre being the first earliest FNAF fan game on GameJolt is technically true, that only applies to present day. And you'll see now that there are some that have just since been totally deleted or released in completely opposite corners of the internet. This is where the search becomes exponentially harder the deeper you dig. If you were to scour through the depths of YouTube for ancient fan games, there isn't much when it comes to the very first ones, as they never got very popular. There is an exception though, as a video by the channel Risk Rim showcases a remake of the original game titled Creepypasta Castle. This predates everything up to this point. It's a very bare bones version of FNAF, but replacing many of the cameras and characters with those of creepypastas such as Ben Drowned, Sonic EXE, Tails Doll, and the main character Pinkie Pie, who is featured on the main screen as well. It was originally released as a demo on October 12, 2014, just almost a month before Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Massacre. It did in fact have its very own GameJolt page, though it was deleted sometime before 2015 for unknown reasons, along with most of the creator's social media. For the gameplay, there is none, technically, as the demo that originally released on GameJolt was completely impossible, and the full release that came just over a month after made the first night just barely beatable, but the second, once again, was impossible. The mechanics were pretty much the same as the original FNAF, just using the cameras to watch where they are and using the doors as they approach. They even used Sonic EXE as a direct replacement for Foxy. In general, this game was incredibly unstable. In the only video we have of the full version of the game, numerous bugs happen back to back to back, from ones that kill you for doing absolutely nothing to ones that just beat the game for you. Unfortunately, as of today, only the demo can be found online, and the full version is completely lost, only having the Game Jolt page being found on the Wayback Machine. So if you'd like to try this out, I'll have it linked in the description, as well as all the other games I've mentioned. Though the demo was released pretty quickly after the first FNAF game, 65 days, it still isn't the first, and is somehow nowhere near it. If you've been on my channel before, you'll remember the game 10 Scary Nights, or known by its actual title, One Night 2 Crazies, along with the last game were entries that I covered on my FNAF Lost Media iceberg. Since then, this game has been identified and completely found, so let's take a look. This game was released on October 7th by Chris Antoni, and its official title, One Night 2 Crazies, instead for the Xbox 360. To give some perspective, the first time I came across this game was through a comment on a very, very old Reddit post asking for some FNAF fan game suggestions. One of those suggestions being 10 Scary Nights. Upon searching for the game, not much came up aside from one or two Let's Play videos from some super small channels, none of which contained any trace back to a link or any developer. Searching through pretty much all I can with the name 10 Scary Nights and coming up with nothing, I gave up and included it in the video. Not long after though, many comments stated how they remembered playing this game as a kid on their Xbox, some even remembering the official title, One Night 2 Crazies. With the discovery of the title, just plugging the name of the game into Steam lets you purchase and play the game for literally $1. This still leaves me with one big question though. Where did the people who originally played this game find it at? Because it definitely wasn't called One Night 2 Crazies on PC until supposedly 2016 when it was released on Steam. The gameplay of this one, like the rest, isn't anything too special outside of the usual point-and-click horror mechanics. While the game would suggest there only being one night, there are actually more. In this case, you are asked by your friend to test out their security system where you monitor and defend from intruders, all while monitoring your sanity, which acts pretty much like this game's version of Power. I wish I could say more about it, I just don't have the chance to play the game at the moment as I don't actually have a PC anymore. While this game was released less than 2 months after the first FNAF game, it still isn't the very first one. As we go further though, this is in fact the very first independently released FNAF fan game that doesn't reuse any of the original FNAF characters. So I guess it gets a gold star and a high five for that. But this isn't nearly where it ends, as this isn't even half of the games on my list I have to talk about. So if you've enjoyed so far, as I said, I literally don't have a PC anymore, so... Going farther back into September of 2014, another very early FNAF fan game, and the first independently released fan game we know of on Game Jolt, FNAF 3D Demo, was released on September 26th of 2014. This is the Five Nights at Freddy's Lost Media iceberg. There are 6 different tiers ranging from most known to least known, obviously. We have so much FNAF content out right now, both official and fan-made, but it's rare to hear someone talking about all the lost media around both the game and the community. Obviously there are a few videos here and there and maybe a Reddit thread about lost FNAF media, but no one has ever compiled this many cases of lost media surrounding FNAF and put it all in one place. So that's what I'm doing today. All of the entries are color coordinated and marked to make it easier to understand. Entries that are green are lost media that has since been found, orange means lost media that has been partially recovered, red means that it's completely lost media with no official trace of it being found, and gray means the existence of it is unconfirmed. Basically, it might not even exist. The brown OM means it's official FNAF media, created by Scott or a licensed company, and the green FM means it's unofficial or fan-made media relating to the FNAF franchise. With all that out of the way, no need to waste your time. I hope you enjoy.
Honor.
Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes the way we live. A device designed to live strikingly light and shockingly burdenless. Zeus Wells. Powerful yet so light and burdenless. Introducing the all-new 2026 Zeus Wells. Bukan coffee, bukan matcha. It's probably just air. Probably the lightest mineral water in Malaysia. At Zeus, we don't just create products, we design experiences that care. We know that sometimes our beverages macam manis sikit. And yes, we heard you. That's why Zeus Wells now come fully protected by Air Care. We engineered 3 revolutionary sweetness settings to keep your system optimized. Sebab our core philosophy is simple. Your legs should always stay attached to your body. The interface measures exactly 20 centimeters by 6, beautifully curved edge to edge. Every unit comes fully charged with 500 milliliters of pure hydration, and it is pre-installed with live enhancing minerals, no downloads required. Browsing is 100% hands-on. To view different angles, simply swipe kiri. Swipe kanan. Want to zoom in? Just bring it closer. Zoom out, move it away. Brilliant. We believe your hydration is personal. To ensure it is completely secure, every Zeus Wells comes with our instant twist unlock mechanism, or as we call it, Lock. Inspired by a legacy piece of world-changing hardware, the water tap. Turn anti-clockwise to open, turn clockwise to close. Sometimes people don't ask, they just assume your water bottle is public property. Excuse me, that is mine. Tetapi, if you do want to share your hydration data with multiple users within close proximity, introducing Drop technology. You can simply share by pouring it into another glass. Seamless, wireless, a true peer-to-peer connection. At Zeus, we feel that life-enhancing technology belongs in everyone's hands, so you can easily get hydrated and live wells. One more thing, we are pushing an automatic update to your life. All Zeus customers who purchase any one handcrafted drink and get a free bottle of Zeus Wells in a single receipt. Simply open the app, place your order, and upgrade your hydration. Free Zeus Wells will be available throughout Malaysia on May 1st. Experience Zeus Wells, probably the lightest mineral water in Malaysia.
LEGO FNAF was a remake of the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, but in Legos, obviously. This game added a ton of different features like a weekly challenges system, lives, and a shop where you can buy plushies, other cosmetics, and items to help you survive. They even made it to where you had to own the game on Steam to even be able to play it, just to make sure it wouldn't be taken down by Scott. After the release of the first game in around June of 2022, the amount of praise and attention that it got was so widespread that the team behind it did the only logical thing and announced LEGO remakes of the second and third game, all with trailers which are still available on YouTube. They are just remakes of the original game trailers but in LEGO, but it's still cool to see, and there are a ton of jokes and secrets in them, along with just generally being incredibly well made. Sadly though, on December 12, 2022, 6 months after the release of the first game, the development team behind LEGO FNAF received a DMCA takedown request from LEGO themselves, effectively killing the game right then and there. Because of the DMCA takedown, the original game was taken off GameJolt, and the second and third games were left unfinished. It's sad to see that the series had to end like this, and I wish it was possible for these games to still be made, but unfortunately that's probably never gonna happen. The first LEGO FNAF is still available online, but for the second and third, there are only a few screenshots and videos uploaded to the LEGO FNAF YouTube channel, which are pretty interesting to look at, and it's cool to see what the games would have been if they had actually finished development. @real_Scothen was Scott Cawthon's original Twitter account. Though he never used it and only had one post on the account, it was suspended in April 2022 for unknown reasons. Some people believe that it was due to the controversy of Scott's political donations, but considering this was almost a year later, I'm not convinced, but it's still possible. The more plausible thing, and what I believe, is for whatever reason Scott's account was spam reported, and just like all other social media platforms, they just deleted his without checking. As for Lost Media, there are many Wayback Machine saves of his account, so the contents of it weren't left lost for long. And considering the only thing on it was a teaser for the Warner Bros. FNAF movie from all the way back in 2015, it wasn't a whole lot. It's crazy to think they had a movie planned for 8 entire years. Sandbox Security Breach is a version of Security Breach that was supposed to be how the game turned out, but because of the scale, last-minute changes with development, and many other setbacks, this obviously wasn't the version of Security Breach we're left with today. This all comes from a Reddit post by someone who is very much so involved with the Security Breach community, and who has gone through what I can assume to be all of the game's assets. I'll try to summarize the important bits, but the original post containing a load more information will be linked in the iceberg. Also to preface, I never finished Security Breach, so pardon me if I get some things wrong, but for the most part, I'm going to be summarizing the post. The gist is, the Security Breach that was released is far more story-based than it is gameplay, and the version that was originally planned out had a ton more gameplay features, including 6-hour nights that were just cut out for one reason or another. In the gameplay trailer, you could see, when looking at the Baz Watch, that it would actually keep track of the time like it would in other FNAF games. This doesn't seem to be seen anywhere else due to the version we have now being almost entirely scripted. Another remnant of these 6-hour nights were some of the voice lines that would play over the intercom. Specifically, there being a couple referring to, say, 15 minutes to the hour, followed by an announcement, I guess, to the animatronics to return back to their recharge terminals. To back this up, there's an instructional card which states that you can only recharge Freddy at the end of the hour, which just straight up isn't true. There's also an unused Vanny meter that was meant to be in the game, which would increase upon idling as a way to stop people from just sitting around and waiting for the night to be over. If the meter filled all the way up, Vanessa, who would be patrolling the map, would run over to a large bathroom to which she would become Vanny. If you've ever gotten this glitch when dying at 6 AM, that is also a leftover asset from this cut. At the end of each night, you would be given 3 different plans to choose from to continue on. I'll have both plan A and C on the screen right now, but for whatever reason, there was never a breakdown on plan B. But it had something to do with the loading dock. The idea behind this was to give the player free will to play the game however they wanted, and to choose whichever path they felt like going down. There's a lot more to this, and as I said, it's an insanely detailed post, and I just barely scratched the surface. They go over things such as map changes, the animatronics pathfinding, and the reasoning behind why this version of Security Breach was just physically impossible. So I'd recommend checking it out. I'm not even a fan of Security Breach, but this post was really interesting nonetheless. I'm sure everyone knows about this, so I'm gonna try and make it quick without skipping over anything. FNAF AR was an augmented Pokemon Go type game, except I don't really think you had to go anywhere for it. You could catch animatronics, collect remnants, there's skins too. I'm gonna be honest, I forgot what the f you do in this game. It was initially met with a decent amount of praise upon release, aside from some criticisms of lack of lore, bugs, and microtransactions. People didn't seem to love nor hate the game, but as time went on, Illumix, the company behind it, began changing. They began prioritizing cosmetics over gameplay, adding more and more reskinned animatronics instead of the ones they had been promising since release. One day in December of 2021, they would release their last new character, and for the next 2 entire years, every update would just be a few characters becoming available again for a limited amount of time. Maybe some bug fixes if you're lucky, and that's about it. Until February 2024, when they announced the game would be shutting down, before shutting it down the next day. I wonder why they were in such a rush to shut it down. This one kind of falls in a gray area of lost media. There are archives of different versions of the game, as well as fully playable builds on GameJolt, but technically FNAF AR is lost media. Though this one isn't as known, I thought I might as well put it on here because it's official and a short entry. In October of 2016, FNAF Sister Location was publicly released as version 1.01, therefore making version 1 completely lost. The number change was very insignificant and not even Scott seemed to notice, so I'd imagine there wasn't a whole lot changed. Now this is where it starts to get interesting. As we get deeper, you're going to notice less and less official media entries, and that's because I didn't want to just cram a bunch of lost versions or teasers that are basically just the same thing with the new coat of paint. I only want the best for y'all, so if that's not a reason to subscribe, I don't know what is. Alright, let's keep going. Running in the 80s was a FNAF fan game that released in August of 2020, focused around Fredbear's Family Diner. The game isn't too special, don't get me wrong, from what I've seen, it is incredibly well made. It has some similar mechanics like the doors from the first game and audio luring from the third game, but the gameplay or story isn't what I'm looking at right now. The game was pretty popular. Channels like 8-Bit Gaming, Dawko, and even MatPat playing upon release definitely helped boost it quite a bit. There was only one teeny tiny little issue. The game was a virus, specifically an adware Trojan, which, if you're not familiar, a Trojan virus is just any malware disguised as a legitimate software. And adware is any malware that is designed to install itself on your computer and will show ads and pop-ups which can immensely slow down your system. It can also infect existing files on your computer, which make it a real pain to get rid of, and sometimes requires you to completely reinstall your operating system. According to a thread on Reddit, it wasn't intentionally put into the game. The developer must have had some virus on his system which infected the game files before they published it. For that reason, the game was removed from GameJolt, and not too long after, a re-upload of it, assumedly without the malware, was posted by another user, to which that would also get removed from GameJolt for unknown reasons. There is a version of the game without the virus up on GameJolt. I guess you could technically say the version with the virus is lost media, but shut up, because I'm sure no one wants to play a game with malware in it.
Alright guys, I think I'm gonna stop now. I'm sorry guys. I must stop. We'll see you guys.